All right, Makenshi Critiques, the Makenshi Dick Red's a favorite anime. Welcome to us, Kingdom Hearts 3 Spoilercast. I've got a bunch of guys on that have played most, if not all, of the games, and including Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, we all kind of agree that we like the game. We think the game's good, but the question is to what degree we think it's good. So I'll go and introduce these guys quickly. We've got Giovanni, we got Jay, we got Simo, we got William, we got Zach. And I'll leave these guys pertinent information, whether they be Twitter links or YouTube pages, in the description box below after the archive goes up. We're going to start. We have an order of things we're going to talk about. We're going to start with our rankings, our scores for the Kingdom Hearts games. We're going to move on to worlds, gameplay, story, ending, secret movie, all that stuff. I actually want to start by asking these guys what their individual scores are and their rankings of Kingdom Hearts 3. Just to give it a little bit of context, I'm going to quickly mention what Metacritic gave the vanilla games in the series, just so that these guys have something to compare their rankings to. The highest score was given to Kingdom Hearts, which was 87. Second was Kingdom Hearts 1, which was an 85. Kingdom Hearts 3 was 84. Number 4 was Birth by Sleep, which was an 82. Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance and 358 over 2 days actually tied on Metacritic, with both of them going 75. Chain of Memories are 68, and so Chain of Memories 68 is the lowest at the bottom. So I'm going to start with UJ. What's your personal score for Kingdom Hearts 3, and where do you rank them in the games from the collection?
Okay. So the thing is, like, I need to explain.
Yeah.
What my 10 is. So at 10 for me is like Mass Effect 2 or Final Fantasy 7. Now those are like 10s, top of the top.
Yeah.
A 9 is like God of War, the last one. So I would say Kingdom Hearts 3 is like an 8 or 8.5.
Okay. And where would you rank it amongst the other games, as far as the playable games?
Okay, so I only played the collections.
Yeah.
So I'll give my collection rate. I'll even rate the movies.
Okay.
So I would say it's 2 Final Mix, then 3, then Dream Drop Distance, and then 1 Final Mix, and then Birth by Sleep, 0.2, and then the movies. I don't know how to rank the movies. Like I would say 352 Days is the best.
Yeah.
And then Recoded, and then Unchained.
Unchained. Okay. Well, you don't want to include back cover in there at all? As far as
that cover is Unchained. Like that's how I always mix them names.
Okay, that's cool.
Whatever that 1 hour movie was in 2.8.
Yeah. So just remind me, whereabouts is Kingdom Hearts 3 in that list?
Kingdom Hearts 3 is between 2 and Dream Drop Distance.
Between 2 and Dream Drop Distance. Okay. I think that might be where I have it, but I'll get around to mine afterwards. Simo, how do you rank these games? What's your personal score for Kingdom Hearts 3?
Kingdom Hearts 3, I will give him 8 out of 10, I think.
Yeah.
And in all the games, I think it will be my 4th favorite so far.
Your fourth favorite. What would you have above them?
My number 1 is is Chain of Memory.
Chain of Memory.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Your favorite Kingdom Hearts? Okay, what?
Wait, re-chains of memory or regular chains of memory?
It's okay, so everyone's wrong once in a while.
Wait, Simo, is it the regular chains of memory or is it the re-chains?
Both of them for me were very good.
The advanced one is much better than the PlayStation 2 one.
Yeah, I'll give Simo a moment for a second. Well, why is that your favorite? Just briefly, if you can go into it briefly. Why is that your favorite?
Oh, I love the story. I think for me, this one was the more mature story of the series.
Yeah.
And I love the Sora character in this game. It was perfect.
Yeah. I can understand the mature storytelling, because it was the darkest story, I think, of all of them. Yeah. So, William, I'll go on to you. What's your personal score for Kingdom Hearts 3 in your ranking?
All right, so when I originally reviewed the game, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
But after reflection over a few days, it's now at an 8 out of 10. But I do not believe that it's anything lower than an 8 out of 10. And for context, so a 10 out of 10 for me would be like Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And Mass Effect 2. And then a 9 out of 10 would be the Spider-Man PS4 game that just came out.
Okay.
And I loved that game. And
Yeah.
so Kingdom Hearts 3, I have several issues with it, which we can talk about. But those issues added up knock it to an 8 out of 10, but not lower than.
Okay. Zach, your personal score and where you rank these games, because I know you really regard it high.
9.3 when I beat the game, but a week later, I feel like I'm going to bring it down to a 9. And it might even go lower than that over time. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I said this on Twitter to you earlier, actually, in a thread that I linked you to. I said, the game on paper is better than 2 in almost every way, but for some reason, I just cannot put it above 2, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I would say I think 3 is probably the better game, but my favorite, I would have to put 2 above it. But if we're just saying which is the best, I would probably put 3 above it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe final mix of 2 is better than 3, but for the vanilla 2, I would say 3 is better than that.
Yeah.
Like 3 is better than 2, but final mix is better than 3.
Yeah,
that is a fair point to make. That 1 and 2 both had the benefit of having a final mix, which is basically director's cut, where they were able to add content. I mean, if you take those away, all the secret bosses and the data organization fight, all those things, there's not much to do in post game Kingdom Hearts.
Also, the final mix had a lot of Organization 13 scenes. Like if you take those cutscenes away, they're barely in the game.
There's a ton of important cutscenes in Final Mix. It's like the extended edition of Lord of the Rings.
Now, I actually thought I had an unpopular opinion when I came out and was given Kingdom Hearts 3 a 7.8. I've actually revised that. It's gone up to an 8 because there was some stuff with Namine I missed out on that actually really fleshed things out for me.
Right.
And was a connect. Yeah, William actually sent me the link and it actually bumped it up to a solid 8 for me. The reason we'll get into that later, but I thought my opinion was unpopular. But when I looked at those Metacritic scores, they seem to have it squarely in 3rd place, and this is like the vanilla versions of Kingdom Hearts 3. We'll start with let's start with the worlds. Actually, we'll get into the story because that's going to be most of what we're going to be talking about later, right?
Wait. Did the last guy give his opinion for his ranking? I'm sorry.
You want me to put them in order of how I rank them?
Zach, and then the guy all the way to the left. I didn't get his name.
Yeah, sorry, Jivan. Jivan, do you want to rank the game, or are you confident to rank the games without having fully checked out 3?
I guess I can give a hypothetical rating because I can't. Okay. For me, it's a 7.5, which other people are as to say that can also mean 7.5, but I just say and a half. Just because thing I liked about Kingdom Hearts 3 in terms of looking at it, actually is how it looks, because I would probably be, I already kind of came up with a bit of a verdict about the game's presentation, is that it's actually the best looking Kingdom Hearts game I've seen. So, sure, I know some people are fond of the style that past games have had, but I don't mind how different Kingdom Hearts 3 looks. But
it's interesting to say that because I was having this conversation with Zach there. I actually agree with Zach that a lot of my fondness for Kingdom Hearts 2, I'm not going to lie, is partially to do with nostalgia, right? The time and place and nostalgia, right? But equally, I didn't want to give Kingdom Hearts 3 so much praise just because it was new and shiny. If you know what I mean? Because it's easy to look at that game and think, oh, this is definitely a 9 out of 10 game when you watch the video clips and all that kind of thing. But I guess we've all discovered playing the game that when it comes to holding that controller and playing it, there are some parts of it that aren't as great as other parts of the game. So
Makenshi.
Yeah, sorry.
Also, I wanted to see Zach's ratings. I never got to hear his.
Your rankings, Zach. Where would you rank them?
Can we come back to that in just a second?
All right.
Are you deliberating on it, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that's
haven't
cool.
given my rankings yet.
Okay, do you want to give them, or shall we wait?
I can give mine now.
Okay, yeah, give your rankings.
So for me, Kingdom Hearts 2 is number 1.
And
the first Kingdom Hearts game I played was Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
For how confusing it was, I still loved it. And then below that would be Kingdom Hearts 3, and then Kingdom Hearts 1. Despite the fact that looking back on it, I would never really want to play the game again. I'd only want to watch it. There's really frustrating parts like Monstro that I would never want to play again.
Yeah.
But the story is just so good in 1. And then below that is Birth by Sleep prequel.
Yeah.
Below that would be 3D Dream Drop Distance, and then I really like the story in the movie version of 358 after 2 days, but I would never.
Oh
play
yeah.
that game.
Same.
I would never play 358, but I like the story in 358.
Well, you should check out the 358 manga. There's a manga for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, Giovanni was actually reviewing 358 over 2 days, and I think most of us are in agreement that playing that game would just be not a good idea to play that game. Yeah. Watching it as a movie would be the best thing to do.
I'm not flipping you guys off. I'm pretty much, that's my thought on the game, on playing it, because I want to remake playing that piece.
I want a remake of it so bad, like with Kingdom Hearts 2 gameplay. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just like they remade Chain of Memories, it would have been nice to make it 358 over 2 days, because I think that deserves the game the most. I think, considering all the backstory it has and Shion and all.
Roxas is so popular.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could be here all day talking about the other games, including Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the favorite worlds and least favorite worlds. I'm going to start with actually. Let me quickly.
I thought we were doing our rankings first, because I haven't given mine yet.
Yeah, no, I asked you if you were willing to give your rankings. I think you gave your rankings, didn't you?
Yeah. So are we going just by favorite and then least favorite, or vice versa?
No. You can give your rankings about where you position it in all the games that you played so far. So where would you rank Kingdom Hearts 3 in terms of your favorite?
I was going to say hypothetically, it would probably be my second favorite, but again, I don't know. But as far as my least favorite, now I did not play this one, but I've watched it, and I don't ever plan on revisiting it ever again. And that was Kingdom Hearts Coded.
Yeah,
because the only reason
we pretend that one doesn't exist.
Yeah, because the only reason anyone should visit it is the ending, and that's the only relevant part about Coded. As for my favorite, because of how much fun it is, it was actually the first game I ever pre-ordered ever. Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that every game kind of tied into this game. There was a lot of fan service in Kingdom Hearts 3. So as irrelevant as some of these games feel, the Unverse showed up in Kingdom Hearts 3. Those cubes, right? Those digital,
the Dream Meters.
Dream Meters turned up, even in San Francisco, the Big Hero 6 world.
There's also Unchained Key stuff in the end too.
The Unchained Key stuff, and Union Cross as well. That was the biggest moment, I think. We can get
also all the themes and Recoded was in 3. Like the fact that Data can be a heart.
Yeah,
that was all Recoded.
Exactly that. Yeah, and so it did kind of tie those up. I appreciated those things. I'll quickly give my rankings. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is number 1 for me. I don't think that will ever be knocked. Final Mix particularly, but I actually enjoyed the vanilla game. Next is BPS, is tied with Kingdom Hearts 1. Then it's Kingdom Hearts 3. Then it's Dream Drop Distance, and then it's Chain of Memories for me. So for me, Kingdom Hearts 3 is actually quite a ways down that list. But it doesn't mean I don't like the game. So let's segue into our favorite and least favorite worlds in this game. And then we'll just move on from there. Giovanni, what was your favorite world in this game? Favorite worlds, or worlds, or least favorite worlds?
For Kingdom Hearts 3?
3, yeah.
Okay, probably my favorite world just because of its visual, and also I like the little connection it has to foreshadow Toy Story.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that.
With Arendelle being kind of a close one.
Yeah. And your least favorite?
Least favorite. Okay, hold on. Least favorite.
There's Pirates. There's Big Hero 6. There's Tangled. Metropolis.
Yeah. Okay. I got nothing. I got nothing against the story of this particular world, but it just seems kind of just by default the Tangled one.
Yeah. That was Corona, yeah? That was your least favorite world.
But I'm not saying I hate it. It's just it was just like the only thing that was kind of worth going to that world probably was to kind of relive Tangled, and I just thought, okay, well the other worlds need kind of I can't knock down the Pirates of the Caribbean world because that actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's like its own game.
Yeah. See, I have a contentious issues on Pirates. We'll get around to that towards the end when I say mine. But Jay, your favorite worlds and your least favorite worlds?
I would say my favorite is from Pirates. Dude, like that boss battle at the end was pure hype.
It was, yeah.
And then like that world is just so like perfectly crafted for being a Kingdom Hearts game. Like that's like the most like detailed world in a Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah.
And then I would say Toy Story's next. Like, dude, that Final Fantasy 13 versus tease was like was amazing. Like, and then and then the secret ending, bro. Yeah. And then I would say Tangled, and then I say Big Hero 6, and then Frozen, and then Metropolis. Frozen was so weak. It is Frozen and Metropolis. They just felt so empty.
Yeah.
So like, I wasn't a big fan of that.
I'm gonna take issue with the Pirates because I know you really like Pirates World. I felt as though the world was amazing. I think the ship combat was great. I mean, it's great for a Kingdom Hearts game to have ship combat like Assassin's Creed, that kind of thing, or Sea of Thieves, that kind of thing. So for me, it wasn't anything amazing playing it, but it's good for Kingdom Hearts to have it. I felt as though the 300 crab collecting and the telling of the third film was weak for me. I actually liked the retelling of Pirates 1 in Kingdom Hearts 2. This one felt as though they were just cramming Davy Jones in, just cut scenes into it, and it didn't really flow together really well. I
agree with the movie, but as for the crab, I feel like the crabs was a good idea because it lets you explore the entire Port Royal.
Yeah,
like, places where you didn't expect, and it just it helps you explore it better than most.
I will agree that as a collectathon, it was good because it let you explore it in the way that you want to, not in a fixed linear path. So you could collect all 300 going this way or that way, right? I like that, right? I never really did it for the ship combat upgrading and all that kind of. I know William, you did a lot of that.
I really want to talk about that world when it gets to my turn.
I mean, so Simo, your rankings for your favorite to least favorite worlds in Kingdom Hearts 2.
My favorite, I think, is Corona. I love it. For me, it was perfect because I love the movie.
Yeah.
So all the little interaction with Rapunzel was fun. The music is beautiful, and you have my favorite member of organization in this world. So I was happy.
Oh, nice.
Marluxia.
Yeah, he's the man. And the word I hated the most was Arendelle. I think so boring.
Yeah, I'm guessing Arendelle might be a thread for us guys. Maybe, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
It might be a what?
It might be a thread that Arendelle is commonly probably one of our least favorites combined. But we'll see.
Yeah,
if that's the case. Right. Actually, you know what? I'm with Simo on Arendelle. I actually revised my thoughts on Corona, because I like the fact that you're constantly chatting with Rapunzel as you go through that level.
And the city was very detailed.
I love it.
It's very detailed.
Yeah.
And I felt like even the nonsensical stuff you were doing tied into Rapunzel's arc, because that was the first time she got out of the tower. So you never felt you're doing fillerish shit like putting a snowman together, right? While the stakes are high.
I love the part when you have to use the aero spell in the flowers, stuff like that. It was very cool.
Dude, low-key, Sora was taking Flynn's girl the entire time.
Yeah, and it's weird that Donald keeps hitting on all the princesses, right? In each world, right? When you think about it. William, your favorite and your least favorite worlds?
Okay, so my favorite worlds go Pirates of the Caribbean, favorite, and then Toy Story, second. Tangled's world, third. Least favorite would be Frozen's world, specifically because of freaking finding Olaf's body parts. Literally, it just killed the game. And then there was also the dungeon part, which I actually thought the dungeon part was pretty good, but that dungeon part, I was like, oh my god, I just want to get out of here so I can continue the game.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that pissed me off about Frozen's world is you're constantly going back up this mountain. And then there's a point where you think you're supposed to go up the mountain, but you're actually supposed to go down the mountain.
Yeah.
And I saw you do that same thing. You actually went all the way back to where you started.
Yeah,
in the episodes because you thought like I'm not supposed to go up, but you're actually supposed to go down.
Yeah.
I will say though.
Movie, you'd know that.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Jay.
I will say though that Frozen's final boss saved it from being the worst.
Yeah.
It saved it from being the worst, and I feel like Pirates' final boss made it the best for me.
Do you know, I agree with you that Arendelle had the first standout boss for me when I visited that world, and it makes sense. It was like Fenrir is like a wolf, and the Eclipse, and it fit
that was so badass.
It fit in with the Nordic kind of names, right? Of that.
I like the wolf, like teaming up with the giant snowman.
Yeah. Teaming up with the co-op stuff, that was actually really good. I just felt that world was like reusing the assets from Olympus and just snowing it up and freezing it up, and
it was so barren.
It was.
We didn't even get to visit the city, and there's an entire city in the movie.
I thought because we got the city in Tangled's world that we would get the city in Frozen's world, but we didn't. Yeah. And I was like, what the heck?
Apparently there was like copyright with Disney or something like that, but like, why copyright a city when you didn't copyright Tangled City? You get what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you had let it go. I'm pretty sure you can allow a city.
I want to say something about Tangled's world. Did any of you guys hang around Rapunzel the whole time?
Yeah.
Because if you do, there's a secret. There's some secret stuff you can do with her. Did you guys know that?
No. Is it like the dancing game?
No. Way before that. So while you're heading towards the city, if you hang around,
like the flowers, right?
There's the flowers thing. There's
the water.
Bunnies. Did you guys go see the bunnies?
Yeah, the bunnies and the water also. You play
all of that is skippable if you don't just hang around her. Yeah. And I really like that she goes off and she also comments on Flynn's posters.
Oh wow! Really?
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then I want to speak a little bit about the Pirates of the Caribbean world. I watched your playthrough of it, and I know that you were rushing through. I had to rush the heck out of the game because there were spoilers everywhere, and I wanted to avoid it.
Me too.
I finished the entire game in like a week, and I feel like that's not how this game should be played because when I remember back when I was a kid, when I played Kingdom Hearts 2, I beat the game in like a month or 2 months or something like that because I was taking time. And I think that's the real way you should be playing these games. But anyway, so you were rushing through Pirates of the Caribbean world.
Yeah.
But if you go to all the different islands, there's so many cool hidden treasures you can find. You can find like infinite gold in some places. And there's like this whole exploration element makes it almost like its own game.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. And one thing you didn't do is upgrade your ship. So I upgraded my ship pretty high.
Yeah.
You can, after you find the first 300 shells, you can find more crabs from all these different islands. And you can upgrade your ship. And then there's this ship boss like that appears that I beat several times. So every time you beat it, it comes back more powerful.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was 1v1ing epic naval ship battles with my upgraded super powerful ship, and it was like this. It was more epic than the final battle in the game.
Really?
It's like I gotta do that.
It's like a secret boss ship fight.
Yeah.
And it gets harder and harder the more times you beat it. So at this point, I can't beat it anymore because it's like we 1v1 like in an epic naval battle style. We have to use tactics and stuff to beat each other. It's pretty cool.
It seems as though if you really get a kick out of those kind of meta games, right? It can be a really, really fantastic thing. I think my only issue is that my personal preference comes into it rather than the ambitiousness of that world or anything, because I can't follow the ambition of it.
And I agree that the story is really subpar because it like has 2 or 3 cutscenes that just skip through the movie entirely. And if you don't know what the movie's about, you just don't know. But I don't think that was the point. The point of the world is to explore it. So if you're just going straight to the final battle, you're missing a lot of the greatness of that level. And you can just skip right to the end. But the fun of that level is to play it like Sea of Thieves style and just go to all the different islands. And there's a lot of really cool hidden emblems. Hidden emblems and treasures on that world too.
Yeah. Zach, moving on to you. I know you were telling me that you feel like the worlds in this game are the most well-realized worlds that you've ever played. Where would you rank your favorite to your least favorite worlds?
Yeah, so I'm gonna also say pirates at the top. Because I took my time. I went to every single island. I battled every ship that came across me. I found all the emblems, all the treasures, and honestly, you can spend 4, 5, 6 hours in that world and probably still not have everything done.
Yeah.
So I love that world. That would be at my top for sure. The crab thing didn't bother me because I was just exploring Port Royal and I collected the crabs just by, proxy of going through the town.
Yeah.
Like just by me breaking stuff.
Yeah.
And so the crab thing didn't bother me at all. I really like the ship combat. It's nothing revolutionary. It's pretty similar to Assassin's Creed 4, but for Kingdom Hearts game, like you said, it's pretty good. And
I do want to say one thing: the race was the worst.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
I agree with that. I warned Makenshi about the race because I failed it 5 times. You actually failed it like 7 times.
Yeah,
you were
7
like,
times.
I think I'm gonna beat William, and I was actually really happy that you didn't beat me.
That race was adaptive. It seems it's like once you got ahead, there was rubber banding or something.
Yeah, you have to go around the right side to beat him because if you go down the middle, you just get screwed because they just. The rocks and they just crash into you.
I was raging, man.
I was so mad. That was the only time I just flipped out on the game. But everything after that, I loved from that game. From that world.
So sorry, Zach. So your least favorite? What was your least favorite?
So my least favorite would have to be Monstropolis.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yeah.
It felt like a Kingdom Hearts 2 world.
Yeah.
It's just empty.
It felt like
it was like a chapter 13.
It felt like a bunch of hallways. There was nothing unique about it. Yeah, the doors were cool, and I don't know if you noticed this, but if you break those like canisters, you can actually hear children laughing. That was very cool.
It was like
that was a nice touch. It was cool, but at the same time, it was just a bunch of hallways. There was nothing. That was the one level where I felt like it was dragging, and I wanted to get it over with. That was the only time.
It did. The characters saved it for me. Like, dude, Monsters Inc. was my childhood. So it kind of the characters saved it for me, but like the world kind of sucked.
Yeah. So when it comes to that,
I like how it was a sequel to the movie.
Exactly. That's why I like it. It's like a sequel to the movie, and there's a few worlds that are like that. Like the Big Hero 6 world, I rushed through that world. I should have spent more time in Big Hero 6's world, but I rushed through the world. But I really like the resolution of how it's like a sequel to the first movie.
Yeah. I wish they did more of that.
My favorite part of Monstropolis was actually when they threw Vanitas in the doors and then.
Oh my god,
dude, that was the best.
That was so good.
Yeah.
This game
was amazing. I wish they did more of that, having the Disney characters interact with the organization or something like that in an interesting way.
That was really good.
You could tell Nomura was more self-aware of like the backlash from other games.
Axel is dropping fourth wall jokes all the time.
Yeah. They were goofing around with the organization a lot more, especially like when he breathes in his face, Luxord and Jack. And he just falls off the side
when Woody was like, "You have no friends." I'm like, oh shoot.
Yes.
Wait, what were you saying about Jack again?
Jack Sparrow's interaction with Luxor when he breathes in his face and Luxor just falls off the side of the ship. that interaction was pretty jokes in that world.
But it works because of Disney, because it's I don't know, it works. Like in any other game, you'd be like, that's stupid, but because Disney is involved, it's
I liked a little bit things that surprised me. The one thing I think was a detriment to this game going in is we didn't have the element of surprise as much as we did for the older games.
I agree.
Because of the coverage and the internet and the age of the internet.
Trailers. If I could go back, I would ignore all the trailers.
Yeah, I actually want to quickly mention my favorite, least favorite, but there are 2 worlds I want to speak about in particular because it's been brought up, but one of them hasn't. My favorites was Toy Box. I actually like San Francisco, not because I thought that the world was like that ingenious or inventive. It's because it has so much space that you could just verticality. You could use every single ability in your arsenal to fight the way you want. You had shot locking, you had running up, flying, floating, all that kind of thing. I actually annoyed me that you got a float at the saw at the end of that level. If you had it before that, it would be so much fun to explore, just soaring around like Baymax. Whereas you can only really, like transport to points, to get aerial like a maneuverability. I wish that they'd given you the ability to glide before that. And Corona was also a favorite, but for the same reasons that Simo really enjoyed Corona. And I actually want to talk about. Sorry, go on, Jay.
I hope for that world, the Big Hero 6 world. I hope they implement that somehow, and I hope. For Kingdom Hearts 4, they do an Avengers Tower world.
Oh man,
where like it takes place in like in New York.
Yeah,
and you have like the Marvel heroes.
That would be
Disney owns Marvel.
Yeah,
I feel like there's so much potential there.
Yeah,
that they can do.
There's two worlds I want to focus on: is the final world and Toy Box. Now, the thing I love about Toy Box is I know some people it's not their #1 favorite. The reason I like it is one, it's not retreading the film, right? I mean, you can have a sequel to a film, but you can have something like an original thing. So one, it didn't retread a film, so it didn't feel like a poor retelling of a film we know. Two, it had an original area, right, which was Toy Box, the toy store, which was Pixar suggesting that to Nomura, right? So there was something at least a little bit original. And you brought that a criticism of Arendelle up, that why can't you bring a city? Why didn't you make an Arendelle city? Why did you just make it like a mountain that you're climbing all the time? They actually decided, let's expand the lore, let's make it canon, let's add it in. So I felt like there was more surprises to be found in Toy Box. It's like a kid in a candy store, right, or a kid in a toy store. That feeling you get, right, of exploring a space. It's like Alice in Wonderland. This game's Alice in Wonderland, in my opinion. But we haven't talked about the final world, the collectathon. Now, I really enjoyed that because
I like
that was What did you guys think of it? I'll start with you, Giovanni. What did you guys think of the final world, the one where you're collecting parts of your body?
I thought it was very unique. I love the way you had to move it. Like, it was hard to explain. Like, it reminded me of one Berserk chapter in the beginning of the series, where like you see the entire world like spinning around. It just reminded me of that, and it was I just loved how creative it was. I can't put to words really.
The way you could fuck with that world was just so fun. Like it was just it was just the fundamental fun that you even though it was a collectathon, right? One thing I will say about this game is when they make you do a collectathon, they're not chores. They don't feel like chores necessarily. So I'll give it that. It's not like 200 feathers in Assassin's 2 where like you gotta know where they are, or there's the exact amount of feathers and all that nonsense.
The collectathon in the last world gave you a reason to hang out in that epic. It's like Mario's Galaxy world. The physics work in that.
Exactly. That you're shifting the axis. You don't know which way is up or down, and Sora's running around with these weird animations that you never see.
You're afraid you're gonna fall down all the way, but you always catch yourself at the last moment.
I thought that was. I don't know whether Nomura was referring to the final world as his favorite world, or was he referring to Scarlet and Caleb? I know in interviews.
Well, he said
I think
final world, right? So he was probably talking about the one in the game.
We need to make sure that we talk about the stars.
We'll talk about the stars. Yeah, that's why I bought. I mean, so as far as worlds go, my least favorite, Monstropolis. It reminded me of Chapter 13 from FF15. Just corridor after corridor after corridor.
Oh my god, I hate that level.
Nothing is worse than Chapter 13.
At least it didn't come 90% of the way through the game to kill the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't love those characters so much, I would have just written that whole thing off, man. I would be like, I wish this was optional. Like, I didn't like.
They did actually fix Chapter 13 in a patch, but it was far too late at that point.
Yeah, and the issue was you're fighting the same frog enemies that everyone fucking hates. That giant fat frog that you fight all the time.
He like one shot you, bro.
Yes, and
it's so much damage.
Yeah, and the mobs that they make you fight was just corridor mob, and the banter was great, and I know it fits into the story because it's the factory, right, and everything else, and the little moments like you say, right, with Vanitas and all that was great. It's just I felt like some of these worlds were slog. Now, actually, before we move on from the world stuff, would you guys prefer the single visit to a world, one and done? Or did you guys prefer the two shorter visits to the Kingdom Hearts 2 worlds? I actually want to go to Giovanni quickly because he's actually played Kingdom Hearts 2. So what do you prefer, Giovanni?
Like
Kingdom Hearts 1, you visited the world once, and it was like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, and then you never came back to that world apart from collecting stuff. In Kingdom Hearts 2, they made you visit these worlds twice. The first half was always related to the films. The second half was more organization related. What would you prefer? Which format do you prefer for the visiting worlds?
I kind of prefer revisiting the worlds only if it's plot relevant.
Yeah.
So a bit of a mix of 1 and 2, I guess.
Because I think that dictated how much I liked these worlds, or how I felt the pacing of the story was. Because I felt like I was waiting much longer to get interstitial stuff than the other previous games. What about you, Jay? Which format do you prefer?
Oh my gosh.
I'll be right back.
Is this a big issue with the pacing? My issue with the pacing comes from that, but I want to see what your thoughts are.
I think I like the one and done, to be honest, because I feel like I think the one and done would be like fully, like for me, it would be fully better if you can go back after the game and there's more stuff to do. If there's more dialogue after, like you can come back after Tangled and you'll see Rapunzel with her brown hair, and you can talk to her about what happened. But it's like one line of dialogue, and that's it. Yeah. If there was more dialogue and more new things afterwards, I think it would be 1%. But I still say I like the one and done first.
You didn't think it ruined you? It ruined for you the pacing of the core story, the actual core story that was going on.
Nah, but if there was like a big battle in the middle of the game, like saving Aqua, I would be mad at the Disney stuff because I just want to get to more of that. Yeah. It's kind of like. Let me find a good comparison. It's kind of like Gintama. Yeah. Like I got the Yoshiwara. Yeah. And I just wanted more fights. Yeah. But I couldn't. But
Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm sorry to cut in. Kingdom Hearts 2 has this issue where you do the first visit of those worlds, and then you go to Hollow Bastion, and you have Xehanort and all these things, and you're like, oh man, we're finally getting into it, and then it's like, nope, go back to all the Disney worlds.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. If Kingdom Hearts 3 had that battle, I would say the pacing sucks, but I feel like it gave me a little tease. Yeah. It gave me enough where I'm okay to wait. Yeah. But I still want to get to in the end, but I don't want to rush it either.
Yeah. Before I So before I go to you, Simo, I actually want to bring up Jay's point that and something I said before, that because we know so much about this game going into it, for me it personally harmed it because we knew Terra got naughted, right? So we knew she was going to be naughted, she was going to have some resolution. It's because we already knew that, but Sora didn't, and a bunch of characters didn't know that. I felt like we were waiting too long to see that play out, in my opinion, because the minute that started playing out, basically everything after that was the end game, basically, almost. Getting Terra back, getting everything back, getting the organization all knocked out. I felt as though because we knew that was the big centerpiece of that one of those trailers, that she was naughted. Now we were waiting so long. I was like, we know she's naughted. Like, let's get to this.
I thought that was gonna be the beginning of the game, like her rescuing them, because Nomura in the E3 he said that it wasn't a spoiler. Yeah, but it didn't happen until like the very end of the game. They actually save her.
Yeah, I don't like that they went there and then went back and then went back again. I wish that they saved her in the middle of the game. I wish they had a Hollow Bastion moment, something like a Hollow Bastion moment in the middle of the game that was plot related. Because one of the main criticisms I have is everything being at the end, except for when you finish a world, there's a cutscene that's plot related.
Yeah, Simo, what format do you prefer? The one long visit to the worlds like Kingdom Hearts 1, or the two short visits like in Kingdom Hearts 2?
I think I'm like Jay, the first visit. For me, it was good enough. Yeah. Example, if you don't like a word, you don't want to go back again to this stuff. So I was very happy with 3 like that.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Simon.
I finished.
Yeah, so no, I was going to say that I only felt that inherently there's nothing wrong with visiting a world one and done. It all comes down to the pacing for me, in my personal issues. But we were so inundated about this game before it came out. I felt like I wanted there to be more surprises. So I didn't want to be spending like so long in one world without basically anything going on. We can talk about
there's one world I forgot to mention for my rankings, the Hercules world. I feel like that might be the worst world. Now I think about it. Like
I actually like.
Wow, I actually love that world.
I love
maybe
that
maybe second pen Metropolis, but like, think about it. We all forgot to mention it. Yeah. It's like so forgettable.
It was the most visually arresting. In my opinion.
It was.
I like going up into heaven in that.
I didn't actually do my ranking worst and best, but I would have put Olympus at 3. I would have put Toy Box and then Olympus at 3.
Yeah. I was disappointed that there's no Colosseum, no fail talking, and no Hades fight. Like there's always a Hades fight, and there was no Hades fight.
And plus, they didn't do much with the other gods in there. You see them briefly in a cutscene. Like, it would be interesting to talk to them at least. I don't know where they are in that world. Like, if I want to go up to Hermes or Athena, where are they? Like, it's strangely unpopulated up there. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but if you go back, the city's actually repopulated with like humans. Like,
they're rebuilding. Yeah, like you can talk to people. There's a nice a belt quest there.
That's what I liked.
Yeah,
I completely missed the belt quest. I didn't even know anything about it.
The Rock Titan boss battle was also pretty cool.
It was,
it was the roller coaster.
Yes, but the final boss of that level was trash. Straight up trash. I'm just gonna say. Worst boss fight in the game.
I hate bosses where it pushes you back constantly. I hate stuff like that.
Yeah,
the camera was a joke in that fight. It was terrible.
There's actually one more world we can talk about, but let me quickly get through this segment because Twilight Town we need to talk about. William, would you prefer the long visit or the 2 short visits?
Okay, so I disagree with all you guys. I think it should get 2 visits.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the thing about it is that I feel like because I was rushing the game, it ended so quickly, and I just want to be able to have a reason to go back and have more story. So I wish that the story ended the way it did, but then there was more story later. Just something short, like maybe 30 minutes, just to be able to stay longer. And if you go back to Monsters Inc. World, Sully says something like, "Oh, you guys are great," and stuff. So there's some good stuff if you go back, like in comments and stuff. But there's nothing story wise, and I feel like the pacing would actually be helped if for 2. There's several things that I would change, and we can get to that. But I definitely do think that it should be 2 visits.
Yeah, Zach, I probably know your answer to this, but what's your thoughts? The long one?
No, you're correct in your assumption. I prefer 1 long visit. I just feel like it allows me to get immersed in the world, and again, I think I told you this in the YouTube comments on one of your videos. I said that I came into this franchise through being a Disney fan.
Yeah. Would you say
Final Fantasy games until I was older?
So would you say that having played this game, this makes you remember Kingdom Hearts 2 less fondly than maybe
yes, in some ways, yes, it does, because I look at those worlds now and they all feel hollow, like corridors. Like they're just little tiny rooms with some enemies.
I mean, look, I respect that. It's
Birth by Sleep was worse. Birth by Sleep was worse.
Yeah,
I think Birth by Sleep might have had the worst set of worlds possibly in the whole series.
You don't think Dream Drop Distance had the worst set of worlds?
No, Dream Drop Distance had.
For me, it's between the 2. It's between those.
Dream Drop Distance had. If you go back, like Monstro looks way better graphically. The Pinocchio world, like the level designs for those worlds, actually they look like people live in there rather than like a video game maker made those worlds.
Yeah,
like it feels like it came out of the cartoon rather than made for video games.
I like in Kingdom Hearts 2. The Lion King world is actually really great because you get a 1-to-1 scale Pride Rock.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Sorry, go on.
Real quick, I was going to say, so the reason that I prefer 1 long visit, like I said, it immerses me in the world, but also I like the pacing of that better than having to, have this big point in the middle and then come back. I just feel like by that point, I'm not invested anymore in it as much. And I would rather just get it all out of the way. I think you would actually have a different opinion if each world was filled with supplemental optional content. If each world had its own secrets, like a bunch of them after the game. The only one that really has depth like that after the game is Pirates. If all the worlds had that level of exploration beyond the visit, I feel like you'd have a different opinion, but there's just not that much to do.
I wish you could explore Andy's house, like all of Andy's house.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I mean, they said that this was while he was moving houses, right?
No, this is between 2 and 3.
Yeah, so before college.
Before college, okay.
Yeah.
So right now I want to transition. Before we transition to the story talk, there's 3 worlds I want to talk about, and it'll be a good segue into the story. 1 is Twilight Town. 2 is that boss rush arena area where you fight with the organization, and 3 is Scarlet Calum, because I know there's issues people have with Scarlet Calum.
I love the design of that.
Yeah, the design is great, but I think for story reasons and visiting that world, I don't know whether you could call it a world, right? But we'll get onto that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Twilight Town? Now, Twilight Town in Kingdom Hearts 2 is, in my opinion, is much bigger than the Twilight Town in 3.
It's not an opinion, it's a fact.
It's not an opinion, it's fact.
Yeah. I mean, it was stupidly small, man. Like you couldn't visit the mansion inside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
like
I was really disappointed in Twilight Town for several reasons. I wanted to be able to go onto the tower. I wanted to be able to go inside the mansion. I wanted to be able to go to the beach. I wanted to go to the beach with Hainer, Pence, and Roulette.
You give us ice cream, but we cannot even climb the clock tower and look at the whole city. Like, what is that about?
Yeah, I want to go to the clock tower.
That seems so obvious to me. I had a theory. When we were in the computer room, I had a theory. We're going to come back here and we're going to go into the data Twilight Town, and that is when we'll be able to explore the entire town. I thought that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, that never happened.
Say that conversation, because I want to have a DLC talk, like so we can discuss what we think the DLC will be about.
Yeah,
but we'll save that for later.
There will be DLC. Or
he said Nomura said he has ideas.
It's when you start flying around in Twilight Town, when you hit up against invisible walls, you realize how tiny that place is, right? You're constantly bouncing into the invisible walls.
But I like how there's actual people there.
Yes,
and he also have the rat mini game.
Ratatouille, the cooking stuff.
Yeah, there's also the cartoon and then the cartoon games.
Yeah,
I didn't care about
I know that a lot of people
thing
don't like
at all.
Did you guys do the cooking stuff? Like
a little bit.
Before I went to the final battles,
the eggs suck.
Eggs suck. Yeah, you got to be finesse the controller, man, a little bit just to be able to do them. I did the mini games, but I never implemented the ingredients into like a menu and buffs and all that. Let's actually, Giovanni, quickly, your thoughts on Twilight Town, man, because I know you played Kingdom Hearts 2. Were you disappointed in the Twilight Town?
I kind of liked looking around a lot of places in Kingdom Hearts 2, but from the look of Kingdom Hearts 3, those locations that I remember going to Kingdom Hearts 2, it's like, man, I wish I would go back to those places like I used to years ago.
Yeah,
or at least from what I've noticed.
Yeah, it was lacking because like William said, I want to have sea salt ice cream. I want to go around on the beach. I want to visit the tower. When they all sat down and. Now I want to talk about the area just after the Keyblade graveyard, which was basically like a ruin where it was basically a staging ground for a bunch of fights against the organization. Yeah. Now, I got issues with that. It's not what they did, it's how they did it is my issue. That's my tagline, right? What do you guys think of that particular area and the way they handled it? It was like 5 fights. Let's make you fight 3-on-1. And let's make it so clinical and let's be like a checklist, right? What did you guys think of all that? The resolution?
I thought it was hype, but I didn't like how every time you defeated an organization member, you stopped the entire fight and you just talked to them.
Yes.
It just felt so weird. Like imagine if you stop Thanos.
Yeah,
in the middle of like a big war, and you just talk to him while there's like some big war going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And like Ultron's behind them, like just looking like, all right, just talk.
I actually have a counterpoint to that.
It would make no sense.
We have to remember this is the same series where when you die, the empty body that you leave behind has its own personality in life. So let's just keep that in perspective.
Yeah,
no. But I felt like they could have it would have been better in my opinion if you defeated the enemy.
Yeah,
and then you got the cutscene with both of them at the end, one long cutscene at the end instead of 2 cutscenes in the middle.
Actually, to Zach's point, which is why I say that it's not what they did. It's I'm with Jay how they did it. I mean, it's like it was so clinical. Like it was like we have this much time to resolve this many organization members. What's the quickest way we can do it? A kill 'em conversation. The two other guys are standing around for some reason, whatever it is, before the fight continues. The only really great part of that arena battle, for me, in my opinion, was the Luxord stuff with the card stuff.
And
William
I kept screaming at my screen while you were playing that. All you have to do is look behind the card and see which one is him, and you can hit him.
So I want to make sure that you all guys get your say, right? So Simo, what do you think of that particular section of the game? All that was going down, those fights, right?
I feel like they lost a good opportunity to let us play other characters.
Yeah.
I would love, example, Riku, we play in the game.
Yeah.
Aqua, we play with her in the game. So give us the fights with them. and not let Sora do all the work every time.
That was, you know what, Sim was right. That was such a missed opportunity, honestly. 1 or 2 battles with Riku in the early game.
Imagine playing as Roxas, bro, like with the two the 2 Keyblades.
And do you notice that when you controlled Riku and you controlled Aqua, you realized how tight they are in terms of control?
Yeah.
How shit fucking Sora is. He's all Sora's all flash. Riku's all the old Kingdom Hearts games where you're trying to use the barrier to block. You're trying to dash right. You know, I don't understand why. We'll talk about the combat as well after this, but I don't understand why. Because you're fighting a Sora against these 3 guys, I think that's what made it such a grind and so monotonous. William, what do you think of that section of the game, the ruins and all those fights?
So I kind of agree with you. It's not the what, but the how. But at the same time, I think that the fights were hype. Like seeing, like, but before you go to the fight, right? You see the people fighting each other, and then you join in, and then it's like this epic battle where you're like teaming up with your two other friends at the same time, beating these 3 guys. I thought that was all really cool, and it felt like a war. For a Keyblade war, it was more like a little scuffle.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do like how everyone's resolved. I do agree that it would be better if you just beat everyone, and then there was a cutscene where where they each like had their thing after the you've killed everyone.
Yeah.
I there was that weird puzzle part in the middle of it that was like, why is there a puzzle part? And it wasn't even challenging or whatever. It was just like, why is this one part I have to step on this square and then step on this other square to open this door, whereas everything else was just get to the place.
And you know, the interesting thing is the emotional stakes were removed because Sora kept telling them, "Oh, you're dying, but you're gonna get recollected afterwards." Like there was some emotional punch lost from there because Sora was saying, "Oh, it's okay, man. Like you'll get recollected in your body afterwards." Like
I was a little confused. Is Vanitas coming back, or is he like gone?
No, I think Vanitas is dead.
Like he went back to Roxas' heart, or not Roxas, Ventus's heart, or
Venta. Yeah, I guess so. You just eliminate.
They never really explained.
No, so I know this is all crazy stuff because it's Nomura and we all know how he writes, but I believe they implied that Ventus's heart had been spending so much time with Sora and that Vanitas was no longer needed, and so he just dissolved.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, Zach, your thoughts on that particular section? Because I know we had a heated back and forth about that. Actually, before you answer, sorry to interrupt you. Before I say, I want to quickly bring up something Jay mentioned to me on Twitter. That one thing I like about those skirmishes was the way the organization members worked in tandem and the little animations they have for working together. That's an interesting point that Jay brought up on Twitter, which is really cool. But they moved so fast, those fights, that you just couldn't take in the nuance of those fights, if you know what I mean, because it was just constant breakneck speed. You know what I mean? But I would love to replay the game and look at those again. So yeah, sorry, Zach, you continue. Like, what do you think of that section?
So I actually loved that section. I thought it was very interesting because I can't remember a time where we fought 3 bosses in one fight like that. I don't think they've ever done that before.
So well.
The Colosseum.
So I thought, oh well, I guess that would count, but never on this scale. Like those fights were very simple. Like they weren't.
Yeah.
It was like Yuffie and Squall. Like it was. Nothing.
I don't want to.
Final boss.
Yeah, it's Cloud, Yuffie. Yeah.
Like the ones with the Xehanorts, all 3 of them. Like if you watch the choreography, it's just perfect. Like you have like the way they do combos, and how they bounce off each other, how they react. How they react when you kill like Xemnas or something. They fight way differently than they did before. Yeah, and then like each fighting style was all different. It was just perfect, that fight.
Yeah, that's not to say that section was perfect. My ideal version of that would have been a big Zelda-style dungeon, but that is a labyrinth, and those puzzles would have been much more intricate to get.
I meant the Xehanort part, the Xehanort section.
I know. I'm talking about the whole section because that's what.
Okay. Yeah. And I understand what you mean.
I would have made it a big Zelda-style dungeon with those puzzles being a lot more detailed and intricate to get to each boss room, and they would have still been one. And I know, like, I just praised it being 3-on-1, but I would have, if I had a choice, I would have taken each of those fights 1v1. And also, what was mentioned about maybe an opportunity for switching characters, I think this would have actually, what I would have done is switch between the characters, plays Aqua, plays Roxas, things like that. And it says, "Oh, you've unlocked this character, and now at will I can play as that character in free roam or something like that." You know?
Now, two things you mentioned there. One thing is that I'm in agreement with Zach that some of these worlds that they call worlds, they don't really constitute worlds. They're just battle arenas, right? And that's most notable in the ruins here and Scarlet Calum. Another thing is the fact that they missed a trick with a lot of these of the seven, right? The seven guardians, right? That Kyrie, man, like even having Kyrie playable would have been
dude.
Actually, let's talk about that. But let me quickly get to Giovanni.
I want to say it for the ending, but I'm going big.
All right, well, we'll save it for the ending. I'm about to segue into Scarlet Calum, and then we can talk about the story, right? Giovanni, your thoughts on that particular section where you just it's constant boss rushes, basically.
This is at the Keyblade Graveyard, right?
Yeah.
The 3 Xehanorts.
Your 3 Xehanorts, and you're fighting little skirmishes with Riku and fighting, I don't know, Marluxia and what's her name?
Basically, each fight was its own game. Like you had Marluxia and Larxene. That was Rechains of Memory. You had Terra and Vanitas. That was Birth by Sleep. And then you had Sakes, which was basically 358 2 days. So like each fight was like its own, like it took from a previous game and it made its own like final boss.
Pretty much like a callback to boss fights from past games.
You could
because I remember that the fight with Ansem, which was the Xehanort's Heartless, like you hear the boss theme of his from the original. Like,
I love that
callback.
Yeah, it was a Rage Awakening, right? Is that the song? Or was it a different one? The one that plays at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 against Zelda.
I recalled that.
Rage Awakening plays against the Lingering Will.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say with the Ansem fight, like the song that was playing was Forza del Mail, whatever the hell it's pronounced, but it's like his boss theme from during the final fight of Kingdom Hearts. But before you go into that dark abyss, whatever area that you fought his last two forms and such, but I thought I actually liked that musical callback with Ansem, but I actually now think of it, it does sound like a callbacks to boss fights from past games.
Let's talk about Scarlet Calum, because we thought that was gonna be. I don't know about you guys, but now, I thought that was going to be a world you could visit. We get to find out a bit more Xehanorts, some files.
I wish there was treasure chests in that world.
It was
I wish I could just spend some time in that world instead of fighting.
Yeah,
that was the only thing I
didn't like. That would be cool if that's where the Final Fantasy characters were. Like somehow they were just there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a staging ground for an epic boss fight. Don't get me wrong, but as soon as you walk in there, it's just like a series of boss fights, right? And then So,
and then you turn it to shit, so you can never actually see it in its glory, you know? Because at the end of it, you've just completely demolished the city.
Yeah,
I don't remember much, but what was those guys you were fighting before Xehanort?
They were just his 13 versions of himself.
Yeah,
that's all that was.
Yeah,
like the keys that were produced, like
the keys
turned into their own.
That's right.
Yeah,
and then he absorbed it into himself to make himself into the devil.
I mean, it's called Cable Town, right? Like when I first saw that world, I was remembering of BioShock Infinite, right? Where you traveling through cables. It was called Cable Town, but there was like just no transport, no nothing. It was just you couldn't even do flow motion on anything in that world. It was just window dressing.
Well, they don't actually call it Cable Town. That was actually an old name that put this world in concept art to journalists at an event like maybe 3 years ago, and that's what it was referred to as.
I mean, even in terms of its architecture, right? You expect to be able to do maybe a little bit more, because in the Pirates Town, you could grind on those smoke clouds, right? I was thinking, shit, maybe the way you navigate this world is like grinding on rails, trying to make your way up and up and up, and going in interiors, where they're playing chess. Like even to visit the room where Xehanort and Ericus were, I would have loved to do that, but it just seems as though it was a staging ground, and over there he was like a god and all that kind of thing. So
now what happened to Simo?
Sorry?
What happened to Simo? Oh, there he is.
Simo. Oh, wait. There we go. Yeah, Simo got cut out for a second. Well, I can keep going, and when Simo comes back in, we can keep going. Simo, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. So Simo, Scarlet, the final world. What do you think, Simo? Like, were you disappointed or?
Wait, the final word or Scala?
Sorry, Scarlet at Kylum. Yeah, the one where you fight Xehanort. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It was perfect. Oh my God.
You don't think you would have liked to visit it or work your way through a dungeon or some stuff at that stage? Or
I feel like it was the perfect arena for the fights, and I'm sure the other games, so I don't mind. But I took my time in the fight to visit a little to see all the structure with having my ass beaten. But like I saw some sculpture very interesting. I love it, and I love the fact you have day breakdown in it's like how do you say that? Downside the city when you are in the water fight, you can see the breakdown. I love it. So,
So actually, Jay, now we can move on to like the story elements. Like we can talk about Xehanort, we can talk about.
I love how we completely skipped over the gummy ships.
I mean, gummy. I'll be honest. Like we can talk about the gummy ships. I like the gummy ship. I like how expansive it was.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do in that, but I just skipped over all of it because I wanted to get to the end of the game.
I'll just say this about the gummy ship. I'm excited whenever they bring Star Wars in. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine like the Star Killer base being in. You have to be a gummy ship. You have to fight that and all that, dude.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people didn't delve into it, but you can develop a lot of really cool ships in the gummy ship thing, in the gummy ship creator. You can create.
Oh, I saw that toilet gummy ship. That made me laugh, dude.
Yeah.
It's like a entire toilet seat.
Look, I get that the gummy ship is great for those creator heads, right? The Minecraft, those crowds particularly.
Yeah, but
right?
I just skipped right through it.
But did you guys have problems with the controls at some points in the gummy ship? It kept forcing your nose up. Like I don't know what it was with my game, but did you not find the controls like kind of not tight in some moments, and then it was tighter in other moments in the gummy ship stuff?
No,
like it was.
The only problem I had was the feedback when you're hitting enemies there wasn't enough feedback. Like there wasn't enough like punch to your impact on the hits, and it felt like you weren't doing very much. But I didn't have that problem where the nose was going up. That might be your.
Yeah, I do feel that the bullet hell stuff, like Nier Automata style stuff, was really, really dope. I'd have hoped that the people that worked on Nier Automata and did those sections would hopefully come back for a future gummy ship stuff and implement that kind of combat, because I think that was much tighter than what they were doing in this. So let's talk about the story. I want to start with actually Xehanort, because he's so important to this, and then we can talk about the other stuff, right? He appeared briefly in the beginning of the game, and then he appears at the end of the game. Did you guys want more on Xehanort? Just a little bit more of a nuance, a bit of motivation for him? Or were you happy with them just telling you everything about the guy towards the end? Giovanni, your thoughts? I'll move on to Jay after.
I kind of wish he had a little bit more screen time than the. Although I don't mind the Organization 13 members gain their screen time, but it would have been nice if Xehanort got a little bit more than what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, like there's the new voice actor, right? It's not Leonard Nimoy anymore.
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer, and his delivery obviously might affect people's impression of him about how much he emotes, how much he delivers, right? What do you think of Xehanort, man? Just generally speaking.
I didn't like his voice actor as much as Neroy's. I didn't like it as much.
I wish he got a copycat of Nimoy instead of got a completely different voice, because
he didn't sound like Nimoy at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish they got a copycat instead of.
I thought you said that he was a copycat.
No,
they failed.
No. Yeah, I don't like that he has a completely different voice in this game.
Yeah.
I feel like I liked his motivation, but I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I kind of wish we got teased a bit in like the middle of the game, or back in like Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like
Ansem and Xemnas have more development as villains than even Xehanort has. Like
especially Xemnas, I didn't expect that out of him at all.
Yeah,
but now I thought about it, it kind of made sense for this character. But like it was just like, why Xemnas over Xehanort? Like Xehanort should have had more.
Yeah, Simon, what do you think of Xehanort? Do you like the way they handled him? Do you like the voice?
Honestly, the voice feel like a different character for me.
Yeah.
And And honestly, the way I see it, so I feel like they always portray the character with the report, but not in the game. So you learn more about him in the report, secret report, but never in the game. So you
Yeah,
have to
that's an
read
issue.
so you have to read to learn about him.
It's William.
About his feelings.
William actually linked me Ansem reports, right? Which is weird.
Those are super important, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, they're always important in every Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah,
like the secret reports in Kingdom Hearts 1, they basically said that nobody existed.
Yeah.
Like nobody's were shown in secret reports like 4 years before Kingdom Hearts 2 came out.
But
so
this is why. This is so strange that we're talking about Xehanort, where these reports still don't do as much for Xehanort as a character, the way he's portrayed in the game.
These are the secret reports in this game are more important for Kingdom Hearts 3 and for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah,
a lot less to do with Xehanort because Xehanort's primarily not the writer of these secret reports.
So Will, what do you think of Xehanort? Were you let down by him? Were you happy?
I was let down. So one, I wish they just got someone who just sounded like they do with. I know that he wouldn't be as good, just like Woody in Toy Story wouldn't be as good, but it'd be better if they got someone that replicated Nimoy's voice than if they got someone, even if he's famous, than if they got someone with a completely different voice. And secondly, I would have liked to have seen him more, especially where they have the cutscenes where they're when they're on the statues of sand and the organization members are talking to each other. Like in the cutscenes, I would have liked to have seen him in some of those, but you only see him at the end. And then third would be that it's fine enough in the story for him to want to do all this stuff just out of curiosity. You don't have to have this whole part where it's like, oh, we need to have someone control the world to stop them from doing. That's a trope that I've seen so many times.
That's basically Thanos. That's Thanos' goal.
And I'm sure that this was made before that all came out, but it's a trope that's existed for a long time where it's like, oh, I need to gain this power to be able to save the world from itself. It's like, that wasn't his goal. In all the other games, the entire purpose of starting the Keyblade War was just because he was super curious about what would come after. And that's cool enough for me. I don't need to have a whole thing about like, oh, I'm going to reshape the world in my image type thing.
Before I go to you, Zach,
I also
sorry, go on.
Oh, I also say I feel like the boss battle. I feel like there was one more phase. Like there should have been one more phase in the boss battle.
Yeah.
It felt shorter than the Zenith fight in 2.
There's a lot.
Like, do you remember the laser part in 2 where you have to press triangle? You have to press triangle and there's a bunch of lasers. Yeah. I feel like it was missing something epic like that.
Yeah, like a big transformation. Yeah.
Dude, I love that scene.
They should have had Riku, Kairi, and Sora. Just like in 2, it was Riku and Sora. In 3, it should have been Riku, Kairi, and Sora, and not Donald and Goofy in the final fight.
I disagree. I feel like Donald and Goofy was a good way to bring everything full circle.
I think that Donald and Goofy should have been in the Scala and Kylam fight, but in the very, very final fight, I feel like it should have been Riku, Kairi,
like when he fought with the X-Blade, you mean?
Yes, in the very, very final fight. Just like in Kingdom Hearts 2, it would have been like nodding to Kingdom Hearts 2, where it was Sora and Riku. It would have been perfect as 3 with 3 members, Sora, Kairi, and Riku. Now, but I still argue. But I also, at the same time, I do like that they killed Kairi, but I don't like that they shafted Kairi because the way that Kairi's treated in the game just.
I also argue that like the Riku moment came with the Ansem, Zenith, and he was in the Zenith, Young Xehanort, and Ansem fight, and he was also in the Data Riku and Zigbar fight.
Yeah.
Speaking of Zigbar, we need to talk about that later. But Riku had a good amount of screen time.
He did actually. I'm happy.
Kairi did not. Kairi got shafted.
Yeah.
It felt like they intended for Kairi to be there more in the game more, but it just didn't work out that way. And especially when you had the secret movie from Dream Drop Distance, which was all about her getting the...
And 0.2. 0.2 hinted that she was going to be Keyblade Master also.
Exactly. Zach, actually, because Zach had to hear a lot of my criticisms of the thing. Some of the stuff you just mentioned before is part of the reason why I kept saying like this game fucks around for 25 hours before it starts get going, right? So I want to talk to Zach about Zeno. What do you feel about Zeno's presence in the game? Do you think his voice actor changed the delivery?
Yeah, so I have a few things to say about it. So about the voice. Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
The voice of Brett Greenhard, if you listen to a voice comparison on YouTube, he actually sounds very similar to the Japanese voice. Like, it is almost the perfect voice for it. But because we have this preconceived idea of his voice from throws us off, but his voice actually is a good match for the Japanese if you're going based on that. Yeah. So I think they picked the right guy, but I think maybe for the American and European audiences, they should have just appeased them and went with an impersonation.
Yeah. I didn't mind the voice personally. It wasn't as good as Nimoy's, but I actually really appreciated it by the end. Like, the voice was probably my least the big issue with him. What do you think of his presence in the game, though? The way he was
presence in the game, I didn't mind that he wasn't in the game much because we already pretty much had a lot of sleep, and then the end of Dream Drop Distance. I didn't feel we needed any more of that. He was like this figure that like, we know that there's going to be a showdown at the end with him, and it's like it's like when they do that throwback to Birth by Sleep where he's just walking through the dust or whatever. Like, I thought that was really cool, and I think by not having him and then having that moment where they're all like standing there in the graveyard, he's like walking, he's like marching down. I thought that was really cool, so I did not mind that at all. As far as like the fight though, I will say that the second part of the fight where he's in the armored suit and where he like shape shifts everything. I thought the camera in that section was awful.
But I thought the fight was epic though.
The fight in itself, the setting and everything was really cool, but the camera in that, like, the underwater, I don't know, like, it was just so.
It was bad, yeah. It was just some weird top-down sort of 45-degree angle sort of camera, like.
It's like you can fly, but you can't fly either. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was.
So I would have had one more phase, and also instead of William said, to bring Kyra liked it more if it had cut to us playing as Terra to finish him off, to give us some justice.
Yeah, that would be a good idea also.
Yeah, because Terra has a lot of shine in this. I'm not gonna lie, he has some really, really big moments between the Lingering Will stuff, between the Heartless, the Erica stuff that like him. He had moments, but I know what you mean. The poignancy.
This game.
Yes.
You want to speak more? Or?
No, go.
This game did Terra better than Birth by Sleep did, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think they made Terra more badass in this game than Birth by Sleep ever did.
I actually didn't like Terra in Birth by Sleep until the end of his campaign.
He was such a dumbass in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, I mean, Giovanni, I know you said that you agreed that you didn't really like Terra's voice actor, his delivery, some of his lines, right, in Birth by Sleep. Did you prefer him in this game, the stuff they did with Terra, or do you still think like the delivery was not good?
I didn't really care for Terra's voice so much. The only thing I actually got a kick out of him is whenever he says "unversed." Like, every time, like I remember playing his scenario, it's like "unversed." I'm like, okay, better take a shot.
Yeah, I mean they did redeem him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I was gonna say, what did you? Are you happy with the day they concluded his arc in this game? Because I think for a lot of people, he wasn't their most favorite character.
Yeah, I'm actually fine with how they wrapped him up.
Yeah.
So real quick before we move on, let me just say I thought that it was pretty cool that they took the fan theory that he was the Guardian on Ansem and Terra.
Oh, wait, that was good.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
It is a little weird with the time travel though. Like you have him as a Guardian with Ansem, and you have him as a Guardian as Terranort.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically we got back the version, like an early version who had not, been 10 years. Like it was the Terranort version, so he technically wasn't in that form for that long because of the time travel. So yeah.
No, I don't think Terranort time travel though.
I think he did, right? I mean, because he came back, but he becomes the student to Ansem the Wise, and then he does the thing where he kills all the members of the.
Yeah, but he came back after he stabbed himself and became Xemnas and Ansem.
You see how shit fucking Noah's writing is?
Wait a minute. I thought the old man was reformed because of that.
No. the old man and Terranort. See, that's a plot hole. Terranort and Master Xehanort, they both came out somehow after Zenith and Ansem came out. Like, that makes no sense. Like,
there's other there's other stuff that makes no sense.
Replay Dream Dark Distance. They explain it somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's also an interaction between when they kill Vanitas, right? Vanitas actually mentions briefly, and this is the answer I wanted. It was such a shit answer. He goes, "Oh, that's why I look like you, Sora, because you're a shadow over me." Some bullshit like that. I was like, there's no explanation for why Vanitas looks like a grown-up Sora before Ventus has anything to do with Sora, or Roxas has anything to do with Sora. So it's some weird one-liner they put in to explain why Vanitas looks like an edgelord Sora, right? And it just didn't. It thematically makes sense, or because you are my shadow, blah blah blah. There's things that I know for a fact that look, maybe Nomura couldn't tie up in the most elegant way possible, because it's impossible to tie this franchise up in an elegant way. So it's not what they did, it's how they did it, because you can't really tie this all up elegantly.
I think for how complicated this whole shindig is, I think how everything gets resolved is good. Like,
it was so simple. The 3 was so simple, the story. Well, like people say Kingdom Hearts is convoluted. I disagree. I think the only convoluted games is Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, and the mobile game. So,
the to me, Dream Drop Distance is what made this.
But the thing is, it has a knock-on.
But Birth by Sleep had a lot of retconning. Yeah. So I felt like it convoluted a lot of stuff.
But the thing is, you're looking at Kingdom Hearts 3 as one story when it's actually one part of a story. When you convolute the middle fat of that story, you convolute everything else. So you have to tie things up in a weird sort of way. I know that they've established, right? We can move on to the break stuff, because that's the most juicy part of it, right?
We missed the star stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But I'm just saying that because you convolute parts of that story, you end up having a domino effect that means that you have to resolve it in a weird sort of roundabout sort of way. And not only mention like the Union Cross tie-ins and all. There's a heavy Union Cross and back cover tie-ins into this. And we can talk about that. We can talk about the star stuff. Now, that stuff that happened in the final world, right? What do you guys feel about that? The way they were presented?
All of you guys get both stars.
Well, I'm still a little iffy about it. It's going to tie into that, William. I'm still a little iffy about it. So, like, they die from Terranords, but they don't really die. They, like, go back in time, like, 5 minutes, like, a couple seconds before they died. So I was a little confused that entire section. Like, do you guys have an answer to that? Like,
so when they were in the final world, everyone was dead, from what I understand. That was it. Like, they were just dead. And when he found his way back, it put him in the position a moment basically before he died.
Okay.
So maybe that's the mobile thing, because I know in the mobile game, after the Keyblade War happened, or after a lot of people died, it created 2 timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think maybe
so there's something in the secret reports about that. Actually, it talks about world lines and stuff like that. Kind of like
Okay, so maybe there's one world line where everyone died, and then
there's probably another timeline where everyone died. There's probably another.
I bet you. We're gonna get in Kingdom Hearts 4. We will get like dimension hopping, and we're gonna get like another Xehanort from another dimension.
They need to, because of the time travel stuff. I think they're gonna tie all that time travel stuff into, because they mentioned that with the disciples, right? The Master's disciples, that they were all in different world lines. Let me rewind a little bit, just a little bit about that, about the whole Xehanort winning. It cuts to a PowerPoint fucking slide of it saying the prophecy came to pass, darkness took over, light was extinguished, right? We got to the final world. It was a brief trip. We travel through the worlds really briefly, little sections of the Disney worlds, fighting this one enemy over and over again. Now, I actually mentioned on Twitter, I want to quickly get your thoughts on this. Like, Tabata, when they did FF15, right? Tabata, like, he's tied into Versatile and all that stuff. Tabata was like, "Oh, I'm inspired by FF6, where there's a big moment in the story where the villain wins and the world goes to shit and darkness," right? They did that in FF15, right? They did it here where it says darkness prevailed, the prophecy foretold.
Yeah.
We go to the final world for like an hour, maybe. We visit those worlds. Did you guys want to see more of the repercussions of Xehanort's this idea that the darkness won, the prophecy won and was foretold?
I mean, if they do that dimension hopping, well, like maybe we get like a Xehanort as another villain again, but as a side villain.
Yeah.
And he comes back, maybe we'll see that future.
Yeah.
But I don't, with the way they did, not really time travel, like the way they did like self-reviving.
Yeah.
You can't show that world, if that makes sense. Like it wouldn't make sense because you're going to a new world.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like it didn't.
They're dead. Like
yeah.
Well, how did Kyrie bring? This is the only thing I don't understand. How did Kyrie bring Sora back? I'm guessing everyone died except for Kyrie.
She brought it back with the power of friendship.
I know, but everyone. No, that's not my question. My question is, did everyone die except for Kyrie?
Or Kingdom Hearts 1 or Kyrie?
When the swarm took everyone, did it kill everyone except for Kyrie? Is that what we're supposed to assume?
I didn't rewatch that.
You know what I think it is? I think it has something to do with Naminé's presence being in the final.
Yeah. So we need to talk about the stars. The two stars.
Yeah.
That's why I rewinded a little bit, because this is to do with Sora's presumed death of this thing, and then now we in the final world now with the stars. So what do you think all that star stuff was about? The way they placed them there, right? For seeds, not only for the future, but for what happened and will happen. What do you think about that? The optional stuff, the optional nature of some of those stuff.
That's the mobile game. It's like the same. You remember the scene where you fight a bunch of darkness and you just spam the triangle button?
Yeah.
And it shows a bunch of names. That's all Unicross.
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah,
the online game. Yeah. So that was a pretty cool moment in my opinion, but.
Nomura played Nier Automata during the development of this game, clearly.
Yeah. So I wanna talk a little bit about the two optional stars. So the whole thing with the stars is that you have all these stars that you can click triangle on, and you just get brief little sayings, and that's just people that are dead, you know.
Yeah.
But if you talk to all of them, then you have two optional stars at the end. One of them is Naminé, and one is an unknown girl. The unknown girl is theorized to be Starlitzia from the mobile game.
Now, or Scold.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that she's waiting for someone, a guy, to save her and bring her back. Now, if it's Starlitzia, then it would be Marluxia's normal version of himself. Because Marluxia's normal version is the brother of Starlitzia.
Yeah.
And he was looking for her when she died. And if any of you guys don't know, back in the before the Keyblade War happens, this is really convoluted, but there's the Dandelions. And the Dandelions were told by the Master of Masters not to fight in the war, but instead to go off into this parallel world so that they could escape the war. In order to do that, the Fox Girl, Volpina, was tasked to create 5 leaders of the Dandelions, and Starlitzia was one of them, but she was killed by an unknown force.
Yeah.
That means that if it's Starlitzia or Scold in that, then she's the star.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, though. You know the girl that's Sax or Issa and Lee. You know they mentioned a girl.
That's probably Ava. That's probably the Fox Girl.
Yeah. It's either Ava or Scold. Or it's those three.
I think it
could be Scold, Starlitzia, or Ava. It's either Scold or Ava in my opinion.
And then one of the stars is also one of them.
Yeah, I think the star is Starlitzia.
But I think the star and the girl that Issa mentioned are different.
Yeah, I believe they're two different people as well. I believe that the girl that they're experimenting on, I believe that's either Scold or Ava, and it makes sense from the epilogue if it's Ava.
So
true.
Before we talk about all this stuff, because this actually ties in more into Kingdom Hearts 4, right? So we can leave that till the tail end, right? Let's talk about Maleficent and Peak for a second, because I know why they're in there, right?
Tease for Kingdom Hearts 4 from the beginning.
I feel as though you could have done without those characters. They were there to remind us about the box, obviously, and the only time the box really played an integral part to the world was the Pirates world, because Jack was looking for Davy Jones's heart. He thought it was the box that Luxor.
Well, and Pandora's box as well in Olympus, which they on the ground, and then Zigbar looks at it as if he's gonna pick it up or something, and then like that's it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm getting a little tired of Millicent. She comes in every game, does nothing, leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
guys
really
know
liked
her
her in 1 and 2,
significance
actually.
in the online game, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So she winds up inside of the parallel world where the dandelions wind up. And she finds out, that's how she finds out about the black box, is the darkness that killed Starlitzia tells her about it. We don't know who that is. It could be the Master of Masters, but it could be something else entirely.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting because obviously there's a lot of deep cuts to the mobile games, coded, Union Cross in particular, right? I felt as though they could have done without it because you're really just setting up. She's a tool just to remind us about the box. I would have been content with her just overlooking Zigbar and the disciples, right? Lushu and the disciples just being there. It would have been fine. You didn't need to waste that much time on Pete. And the fact that they're so integral to the story, but Pete himself, I wanted more with Pete because Kingdom Hearts 2 had a whole world, not only with the classic Pete, but Pete constantly fucking with Sora and that kind of flashback to Steamboat Willie and all that. I felt as though his presence was so pointless that you could have trimmed that down and had it at the end. I understand Maleficent being in there because obviously she was in Union Cross, right? But you guys, let's talk about Zigbar now, Braig and Zigbar and him being Lushu. And but before I do that, I want to talk about how come Demix doesn't have more of a role in this game.
Oh, I think we should do Demix, Kyrie, and then Zigbar.
And Zigbar, yeah. So let's talk about Demix. Like, what the fuck was going on? I know Demix turned, right, and he was
Masters. I think it's Masters.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Sorry, Sim, I know you haven't spoken. What's your theory? What do you think about all that?
About who? Sorry, Demix?
Demix, would you think he's going to play a bigger role in future? Do you think they toned him down a little bit? He was nowhere near that final fight at all. So what do you think?
Well, in one consent, they say to us he's from Union Cross, so we're gonna see him later.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's gonna be one important character for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Which character is he in Union Cross?
We don't know yet. It's gonna happen.
Oh, it's gonna come in an update.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have that big cutscene with Xemnas, and he's like,
"Oh yeah, we chose you because you were Keyblade wielders."
Yeah, you know this.
And he had that conversation, right? Like we never knew each other in our previous lives, right? There was the scientists under Ansem, but there were other characters.
Yeah, the other ones are from the war before.
Yeah, so
I say Demix. Oh, you're gone.
No, sorry, go on. I was gonna make the same point.
I say Demix is Master of Masters just because the way he acts.
Yeah.
The way they always cover Master of Masters' face for some reason. There's a reason why they're keeping that identity a secret. Same reason why they kept Lushu a secret.
To anyone who says he can't be, right? If Zigbar can be masters of... Sorry, I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you that if anyone says that Demix can't be master of masters, if freaking Zigbar and Braig can be Lushu, there's absolutely no reason Nomura couldn't write in Demix as master of masters. I don't think there's any reason why that wouldn't.
He would... In my opinion, I don't think he is. And the reason is because if the Master of... I don't know if the Master of the Masters is the actual villain or if the Darkness is different. But if the Master of Masters is the villain, assuming he's the villain, it wouldn't help him to help Sora. Because his whole goal was to start the Keyblade War so he could get... I don't know why he had to get his Keyblade back. I'm sure that'll be explained later.
Yeah.
But I don't see how helping Sora helps the Master of Masters. But if it is, then it would be pretty much the same as the Toby reveal for Naruto, if he is the Master of Masters.
Yeah, that would be good, though. I think that would be a good reveal, if that was the case.
Maybe, well, I don't know, because I hated the Toby. Well, I don't know if I hated it, but I was like, oh, he's the main villain? That's what
Well, I feel the difference between Toby, at least Demix didn't okay, with Kingdom Hearts, you don't really die, but in Naruto at the beginning, it felt like anybody can die, and out of nowhere, it became a series where nobody can die.
Yeah.
So I feel like with Kingdom Hearts, it makes more sense that the Master of Masters possessed Demix not possessed them, but took over his vessel, took over his body at one point. Because that's what Zigbar did. That's what Lushu did for Zigbar. He took his body at a certain point.
Good question at the end there. but when he betrays them, does Demix ever go back to being a somebody, or does he remain a nobody by the end of the game?
They don't show. They don't
show. He just fucks off for we don't know where.
So really quick, I don't think he's the reason that Vexen speaks to him and enlists him to help is because he needs him to basically use the fact that he's still part of the organization to go steal the vessels.
Yeah.
Also,
no one
Demix has to help Sora because he needs to help him for the Keyblade War also. He just needs the Keyblade War to happen. That's all he needs.
I don't think there's any more to Demix than that. I really
I don't think that he's the Master
of
Masters. I'm willing to accept he is if he is revealed that way, but I don't think he is.
Well, I think we'll know in a little bit. Like if the next Unit Cross updates don't show anything about Demix is nobody, or sorry, Demix is somebody, then I think that's very suspect. I think they're keeping that. Like if they never show as somebody in Unit Cross, then I think they're keeping it a secret for a reason, and that secret will be Master of Masters.
My feeling is that it would make sense for Demix to be aligning himself with Vexen and Ansem the Wise because of their research into replicas, because that could easily come into play in the next couple of games. So that strategic alliance with those two in particular is so weird. Like how would you have ever seen those guys together, right? So I feel as though this is planting the seeds right now, if indeed it is. If it isn't, then I'll be fine with it. Now there's two things we can talk about now. We can talk about Briggs, Zigbar, Lushu, and we can talk
Kairi first. Kairi.
We need to talk about Kairi.
Kairi, yeah, we can talk about.
Poor
I mean,
Kairi.
the fact that she's barely in it, like, what can we say other than they kind of screwed her, man? Like, what do you guys?
She is the Sakura of Kingdom Hearts. She's useless.
She's a damsel in distress again.
Yeah.
She's completely useless.
She does get a little bit. I mean, you're supposed to assume that she fights more. Where they're like, or Aqua's like, I'm gonna go and break the line, and then the other one's like, you can't do that alone, and then Kairi's like, 2 is not much better, and she's fighting. You're supposed to assume that Kingdom Hearts has never been really good at visually showing stuff except for in secret endings, but you're supposed to assume that whole time they're like having an epic battle together, like not just standing there.
And the training.
So I'm assuming you're supposed to assume that she's actually fighting hardcore in that whole time.
Yeah.
Even though it's not shown.
But then they still have to show it though. They still
they still shafted her.
Maybe play as her during that moment to fight someone. But I just don't like they have freaking Xemnas take her, give her to Xehanort, and then he kills her. And now we have to go and find her again, which is a repeat of Kingdom Hearts 1. We're repeating the same crap all over again.
We don't have to because it's already done. Yeah, we see by the end that he already accomplished it.
He already did it, but it cost him his life to do it.
I don't know. It was very...
He gets sent to a different dimension trying to save her. He brings her back, but he gets stuck.
In the opening, if you look at the background, like when they're playing the beach and all that, you don't see Kairi by herself. So I think that there's a visual image just to show that they're thinking about them, but they're not actually there.
That's the dumbest thing.
I thought she was back. but he's not.
I don't think she's back.
No, she's definitely back because it wouldn't. The secret ending wouldn't show him, waking up in this alternate reality.
Yeah,
I think he saved her, but he had to sacrifice his life to save her.
So do you think the ending spoiled the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 4 then, or the next DLC, or the next side game?
I think it shows Kingdom Hearts 4 in some way, and I think that Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be mostly Square Enix property.
Are we getting to that, or are we still talking about?
Yeah, sorry, we skipped way.
I'm gonna get into that. I want to get to that later. Later.
Let's talk about Zigbar now, Brig and Lushu and all this stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I liked that. That
was a great reveal.
That was a great reveal. Yeah,
Makenshi. Okay, I give a lot of shit to Nomura. That you can tell he makes up some stuff, but he does. I will say he does plan out some stuff.
I'm pretty sure this is planned from the beginning.
Nobody's. He definitely planned out.
Yeah.
Besides them coming back and becoming somebody again. I think he planned everything besides that.
The biggest testament to that was that when that twist happened, I could see it being the case. Like if I thought, how the fuck did this happen? I'd have hated it. But when they revealed it, it actually made sense.
Okay, so first hint was in the ending for Recoded. Well, you have Bragg, and he's like, "Oh, I have something big. I have a big plans for myself, for personally myself." Yeah. He says that in the end of Recoded.
Yeah.
And then in Dream Drop Distance, he's like ordering Xemnas around. Why is he ordering Xemnas?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? And then at 3, in the beginning of 3, he says, "May your heart be your guiding key."
And then it cuts
which
off.
Is only said,
may your heart be your guiding.
Sorry.
Which is only said by people from the past. And then you don't see him die. You don't see him die. You just see him disappear.
Fall off,
fall out, and that's it.
He didn't want to disappear in front of him, so he just fucked off, like falling off. And it makes sense.
He always
but this idea that he summoned his disciples from the other world lines that they were in, that stuff needs to be explained. This is why the time travel and the world jumping has to be the center point of the next game, because that just made no sense. Because there's a lot of stuff that makes sense. Because we have to take this game in a vacuum right now. We don't know what the fuck's gonna happen in the future, right? Like, so for now, we just gotta assume that look, we have no clue at what the hell's going on, why it's happening, why he needs the Keyblade War to happen, what the motivation is, and all this stuff.
Yeah, I definitely want to know why he had to give away his Keyblade to get his Keyblade back.
Yes.
I think so. The answer is actually already there. So if you remember in back cover is giving Lucio his role, he says, "Oh, the book is already completed, which means you've done your job. Great job." And then Lucio is kind of like, "What?"
Because he's
only he's ensuring that the book is completed so that the master knows everything that's going to happen. That's all he's doing.
Yeah.
I wonder how can you beat someone that could see the future? Like, bro, how do you beat someone like that? Like,
do you think the whole eye thing's gonna play into it? Because now Master's eye will.
Coming back for sure.
Yeah. We can talk about. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I wanted to go into the Kingdom Hearts 4 thing where William, you mentioned that stuff is in Kingdom Hearts 4 with Square.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta remember Disney owns Kingdom Hearts. Disney is Disney's property. It's not Nomura's. It's not Square Enix's.
Yeah.
Disney wants Nomura to make it. Yeah, it is. Google it.
But we're kind of crossing over with Veer and Rex, right? The world ends with you and
yeah. But
that implies that the next game will have more Square Enix properties. Is where Williams coming from, right?
Yes,
I think that was always.
I'm not saying there won't be Disney games. I'm just saying it implies that there's going to be a lot more Square Enix games.
Oh yeah, like I expect Nier Automata to be in it also.
I expect Nier Automata, and I definitely expect World Ends With You because that's where they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and Dream Drop Distance, but what if that's hinting towards a side game?
Oh, you mean
like Birth by Sleep or Dream Drop Distance?
Side games. I want to go straight from 3 to 4, and maybe some DLC.
Well, you know what? Actually, I
don't want any side
games. I know what you mean.
Or wait, William. Did you play Wolfenstein and Old Blood or Far Cry New Dawn or anything like that? Or Uncharted Lost Legacy?
No.
Did you play in those? Okay, so basically they took the engines from the previous game and they sold a new game for $40. But they're basically giant expansions, but they're sold as new games.
I'd rather just have giant DLC on 3
for Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, what if they make like a $40 new game, but it's basically a giant Kingdom Hearts 3 expansion, and that's the side game. You get what I mean?
The only 2 times that has ever worked, in my opinion, is for Uncharted 4 with their extra DLC with the 2 girls.
Lost Legacy.
Yeah, and for Witcher 3 because the 2 DLCs for that are like their own giant games.
Actually, so I expect it like that for Kingdom Hearts.
But I don't think they should do that because I really, really want for Kingdom Hearts 4 to be right after 3 so that all the complicated stuff can be done and so that new people can jump into 4 without having to do any of the stuff from 3 because all the stuff from 3 is now resolved.
Hold on a second. Jay, I want to bring up Jay's point that about whether it's a spin-off or the actual next game, right? So you remember when the secret movie happened for Kingdom Hearts 2, everyone thought it was Kingdom Hearts 3, but it turned out to be Birth by Sleep, right?
It's possible.
If they're gonna,
right. I'm just hoping
if they're gonna do a game with more Square Enix properties, I can see it being I don't know what that was. It could be a spin-off game, like
that's what I think game. Also, or a giant expansion, like Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Now, the world ends with you stuff is kind of self-explanatory. I want to focus more on the Verum Rex stuff. Now, some of you guys, or at least with the conversation I have with Zach, a lot of you guys believe that it might be like a versus 13 second coming, right? Like a rebirth for that concept or that idea that Nomura has.
I wish it was Noctis. I really wish it was Noctis.
Same. I just don't want to. I don't want to B Tech B tier versus 13.
Well, but why would it be? Why would it be B tier if he gets to realize his ideas?
But then he has to realize
it's going to be called Kingdom Hearts versus 13, and it will be his. He's taking versus 13, everything he wanted to do with that, and putting it in Kingdom Hearts 3.
That sounds like a. That sounds like a spin-off game then, Will. Like expansion.
It sounds like more like a Dream Drop Distance than a like the World Ends With You was in a spin-off game, right? So if you're gonna do the World Ends With You again, I'd imagine that
it'd be a spin-off game.
Spin-off game, yeah. Like
I'd still play it if it is a spin-off game. I'm just
okay, in my opinion, if there's a spin, or I think we should call it a side game. A side game is better to say.
Yeah.
If there's another side game, I hope it's not exclusive for Nintendo again. I wanted to use the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine.
Yeah,
and use it to its full potential.
I think the days of exclusivity are done now. Like you got a Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox One.
Yeah, because handhelds are not as big as anymore. Like Sony doesn't have handheld. You can argue the Switch is a handheld, but most people look at it as a console rather than a handheld.
Yeah.
So they fragmented the player base by going one on Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't think Nomura's going to do it anymore. I think he learned his lesson.
And as far as expansions go, you mean through DLC? I think more the product of their time, right, with the handhelds and lack of
giant expansions or DLC is like more in.
I'd rather have a giant expansion than a side game, but I'll take a side game if I get it.
Yeah, so I don't think this is a side game. I think the fact that first off, the person in the coat who puts the heart symbol over the moon, I 110% believe that's the master. And the fact that the master is in it, to me, says that it's main plot. It's not a side game.
Well, young Xehanort, Ansem, Xehanort, Master Xehanort, and Zenith, they were all in Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
And Xehanort, he was introduced in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they're going to call it 4. I think they're going to ditch numbers and just go with subtitles at this point. I don't think they're actually going to call it
4. Until the big 4, right? Like
yeah, maybe.
Do you know what they're going to do? They're going to do the same thing they do with FF15. Whenever there's an expansion, release it by itself and then call it Final Mix. They're gonna do a final mix for sure, but
no. Nomura said for his DLC, for his ideas, he said he wants one giant expansion, rather than multiple small expansions.
Yeah, but do you think he'll re-release the game as a final mix, or Square Enix will make that?
No. I think we might get a 3.5, or we'll just get a bit like I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a giant collection called like the Dark Seeker Saga, and it has
they already
has
that, right?
1.5.
The all-in-one pack has everything.
It has everything besides it has everything. You're right, Zach, but it has everything besides the DLC also.
Yeah, and
I feel like the DLC is gonna be so big that it causes another release.
So they can do what they did with the Royal Edition, right? Release it as its own thing, but then put out an upgrade for people who already own the game for 10.
Maybe they don't call it Final Mix. Maybe they just call it Kingdom Hearts 3.5.
Nah, they need to drop the point shit, man. Like I think they went too far.
Stop all the 0.7, 0.8, all that bullshit.
Just call it Final Mix. Just call it.
Well, Nomura said he doesn't want to do Final Mix anymore. Let me see if I can find the article.
I mean, he probably doesn't refer to it as Final Mix, but like whatever naming convention they use, it's gonna be what Final Mix is. Final Mix was just added stuff, right, or stuff they added back.
I think they're at story stuff though, like really important story stuff.
I want to talk a little bit about something specific in the secret ending. You know how it's called Yozora?
Yeah.
So the enemies in the anagram of the enemies in Kingdom Hearts has always been with X's, but I believe the enemies in Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to have the anagram YZ, and I believe that the reason why Yozora has two different colored eyes is because the YZ anagrams are fusions of two different people. That's why Yozora looks like Riku and Sora combined.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like there's a reason why.
Fusion system.
Yeah. Listen,
not just a fusion system. It's going to be fusions of alternate realities of themselves.
Yeah. Before you continue, I quickly want to just address this to Simo and Giovanni. Did you guys get to see the Vera and Rex secret movie? You guys, Simo or Giovanni, did you get to see all that? The World Ends With You, the stuff. Yeah. Or have you not seen it? You saw it yesterday. Simo, so
yeah,
sorry. I want to ask you, Simo. What do you think of that? With that twist?
For me, I can see two things. Or it will be Kingdom Hearts 4, or we're gonna get the World End With You 2 with Sora as a side character, because he's included in the Reaper games.
But it almost guarantees that we'll get a Riku and Sora playable. And if that's the case, it will be more in line with something like a Dream Drop Distance, and the fact that there's the World Ends With You as well.
Oh.
I feel as though because Riku wasn't a second playable character, everyone assumed that it would be like a Dream Drop where he's sharing both sides of one's the exploration of where's Aqua is, but we didn't get that in a core game. But that's something they do, I'd imagine, in a kind of a spin-off game where you're going
really
back
quick, Makenshi.
Yeah.
Go finish what you're saying. I just wanted to make a point. Go ahead.
Yeah. So and quickly, just to Giovanni, did you get to see the secret ending, the secret movie?
The Yozora one?
Yozora one, Vera and Rex, where they're in like Shibuya, Tokyo, and then they're inside that kind of versus 13-esque. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the one with the Tokyo ish or whatever you mentioned. Yeah. And also about the numbering, I probably I don't know why this was brought up earlier, but what about that little surprise about Kingdom Hearts 2.9?
Yeah, that joke was.
I was like,
this is why it's not going to be 0.5. This is why I don't see it being 3.5.
He's making fun of it.
Yeah, because he's making fun of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck? Where is Kingdom Hearts 3? Like,
well, that cutscene was already called 2.9. It was already referred to as 2.9.
0.2 Birth by Sleep, which is already a terrible name.
So sorry, Zach. Back to your point. Yeah, you were going to say.
So what I was saying is, I think that they're in two different versions of Shibuya. One is The World Ends With You, and one is Verum Rex. And I think we're going to play as both of them, and it's going to swap back and forth, and it's going to be
that sounds like Dream Drop Distance too, man.
The same city.
Also,
really quick, I'm sure you noticed they only play 15 when it cuts to the Verum Rex Riku side, and it zooms in on the building that Yozora's on top of. Does anyone else notice the alternate version of Somnus playing?
Yeah, it has.
That is Somnus. It's basically Somnus.
So, what was that song again? What was that song again? From?
Final Fantasy 15. Somnus is the theme of 15/versus 13.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Oh, here's another thing. So the twin buildings that are connected, which looks like Insomnia's castle in verses 13 and 15. That shot of the moon over the top of it was in the original reveal trailer of Final Fantasy versus 13.
Yeah.
So
but I understand that it has touchstones to the versus 13 trailers. I understand that it's a nod and a wink at this stage. But we have to remember that Verum Rex is a defined game in the Toy Story world, right? So it's got mechs, right? These mechs and Gigases inside the Verum Rex game. And this Noctis ripoff and the Ignis ripoff and the Arden rip, they're all fighting these mechs, right? So I don't think that was Nomura's original vision for versus 13 as much as, so it's more of a nod and a wink and more of a, okay, I get to kind of realize my sort of vision for versus 13 through this.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think that the plot point with the female character that he envisioned is going to be played out.
Yeah.
You know how they changed that character to Luna?
Stella became Luna.
Is going to appear in the next Kingdom Hearts game, that female character.
So why do people think Yozora is going to be the villain? Because you got to remember, Yozora also means Noctis' name in a different, like, it doesn't mean Noctis.
Villain. Huh? I think that he's going to be the only one that's good, but the other ones that are YZs are going to be bad. Like the YZs just represent that you're a person that are a fusion of two different people from two different realities. That's what I think of YZ.
Do you really think that the YZ naming convention is gonna play a part? Because isn't that a bit harder than putting X's into people's names?
Because they wouldn't have called the secret movie Yozora.
So Makenshi, to your point about it being a defined game in the Toy Story world, do you remember I know it's so convoluted, but if you remember when Young Xehanort, he says that he split the world into two, and then they talk about how it's two different versions. I think in one version of the world it is a video game, and in another it is not, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, maybe one version is a video game, and the other one's Shibuya from World Ends With You.
It may also make sense that Kairi could play a much bigger role as well in that sense. That the fact that they're even in another world line, I guess, looking for her, or we can only assume at this stage. But do you guys think that if it is a spin-off game, that we may not actually have Disney Worlds and The World Ends With You's Shibuya and Vera and Rex are the only two things we're going to do?
Wait, Makenshi.
I'm okay with not having Disney Worlds, but if it's Kingdom Hearts 4, it better have Disney.
Makenshi, if you're talking about spin-off games, wait, do you mean like, are you counting, like, if they do expansion, are you counting that as a spin-off game also?
If they do an expansion or a spin-off game, I'm okay if it's only Square Enix Worlds.
Okay.
But if they do Kingdom Hearts 4, if that's Kingdom Hearts 4, it better have.
I just want to make sure you're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
That's one or the other is what I'm saying.
Yeah, one or the other, yeah.
Of the three options, two of them are okay if it's only Square Enix Worlds, and one of them better have Disney Worlds.
Yeah, I actually don't think it will. You know what I think? I think that this is why they didn't have Final Fantasy characters in 3. I think that they're actually going to be this properties, and that we're going to be going to the world of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Disney are flexing a lot more as well. They seem to be a lot more involved now in a lot of these things. So I feel as though maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. They're saving that.
They better be, because I'm super disappointed that they don't have a final showdown with Sephiroth.
Yeah, man.
Sephiroth, dude. Man.
I wanted to fight Sephiroth with my overwhelming powers, because you know what? I never died in my playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3. I never died.
They never finished Cloud
from the ship stuff.
Yeah.
They never finished Cloud for the Sephiroth.
I know. Yeah.
From the Kingdom Hearts 2.
And even Zack,
but it wasn't.
Yeah, and even the threads with the Zack and Aqua, the date that they were, if you're ever in town again, let's go out.
Speaking of pairings, I'm glad that Riku didn't get Kairi, but at least he got Naminé, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sora told Naminé that Riku would be the one to come get her, right?
Yeah.
In the thing world, yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. I think some people think it's cheesy, but I actually like romantic stuff, and I think it's good that Riku got something.
I want to ask you guys one thing. Do you think it's kind of weird having Ventus and Roxas now exist at the same time as two different people?
It's weird in the real world, but I think it's fine in their world. I think it's cool.
Because Kingdom Hearts always established that one of its themes was that you could become your own person no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine in their world.
Basically.
Do you think they were too obsessed with giving every single person a happy ending? Like Shion even got brought back.
Everyone got.
I mean, you can say that, but they also screwed over Sora and Kairi so badly.
So I think I'm pretty happy with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They gave one big screw to Kairi for sure, but.
Yeah, and they had Zigbar. They had a Zigbar being alive, which is like another screw to the main characters. Like it wasn't really a happy ending. It was very bittersweet.
Yeah,
you have another set of villains.
But I actually don't care that Kairi nothing happened with her, because she's always been a damsel in distress, and I've never cared about that character.
I think that in Kingdom Hearts 4, she's gonna have more to do.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
At this point, I don't even care about that character, so they can do it.
They hype people up is the issue. They really
they hype up so much.
You know how they resolved everything in Kingdom Hearts 3? There's one thing they haven't resolved, and that's Sora's parents.
Yeah, well,
that's never gonna. They're never gonna mention that. They'll never mention that.
It's like Sora, come down and eat me, and then like you never.
And that's it. Do they not care about their kids?
What if the Master of Masters is actually Sora's dad?
It'd be a Darth Vader moment, right?
And that's why it's called Master of Masters, because it's mom.
Well, some theories has it that's the Master of Masters is Sora from the future.
You know, I actually believe that more than the Demix one. I actually believe that one.
I can't believe that one, bro. It's so.
Nah, I can't believe.
Well,
I think what's gonna happen. Here's what's gonna happen. He's gonna open the box, and all the memories are gonna return to him.
You guys do.
So it's gonna be like a Devilman Crybaby moment where he hit himself as another kid, and then he gets a bunch of memories, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Satan."
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm the Master of Masters.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what would be interesting if they do introduce Star Wars into a future Kingdom Hearts game? they could use that concept, whatever concepts they have, and bring those kind of touchstones to this whole darkness stuff, the Sith and the dark side. Bring that into a future Kingdom Hearts. If that's the case, then Star Wars would be a good time to bring into the franchise. I think if you're going to do that.
I also want Donald Duck to banter with Rocket Raccoon from Marvel.
Yeah, man.
I feel like that would be amazing. And Howard the Duck.
I want you guys to answer me this. So we got Final Fantasy VII coming, and who knows when that's coming out.
Oh my god.
We're not gonna get Kingdom Hearts 4 until that's at least done. So how long do you think we have until Kingdom Hearts?
Well, it depends if we can get a giant DLC or not. Like if the giant DLC is story based, then I think we're not getting Kingdom Hearts 4 for a while.
Yeah, it won't be
7 to 8 years at least.
Yeah, not this gen, man. Not this generation of the console.
PS5.
I know it's PS5, but I'm just saying, like, I hope it's not longer than 5 years.
There's an easy resolution to this, which is to take Nomura off of the 7 remake and give it to someone else.
They probably will. They'll screw him off like Final Fantasy. No, maybe Nomura finishes Final Fantasy 7. They're gonna do like 3 games, right? So maybe he does,
which I'm not a fan of that, but
me either. But maybe he does episode 1, and then someone else does episode 2 and 3 and all that. Yeah. Because I have a feeling Square realized how popular Kingdom Hearts is after it's having better sales than Final Fantasy 15 did.
Does it?
So I
heard that Final Fantasy 15 sold 6 million and Kingdom Hearts shipped 6 million, but we don't know how many it sold.
Yeah, but it took 15 a bit longer, I think, to reach that number than it has for Kingdom Hearts. Right?
Yeah.
And they've lost a lot of money on FF. I'm like, I doubt they lost a lot of money. Unreal Engine.
Kingdom Hearts had a very normal death cycle.
Yeah, it did. Even with the transfer, like even when they switched engines, it actually went pretty smoothly for them.
I think they're gonna stick with the Unreal Engine from here.
Yeah, I hope so. Unless like Unreal 5 comes out, then I think they'll stick with it.
Better come out because Unreal 5.
Do you know what? I think part of the reason why this game doesn't play like the old ones is because of this engine, man. I feel as though they made the game easier because they know that the tight. It's not as tight, in my opinion.
I think they made the game easier because they knew 2 things. One, there's going to be a whole bunch of new people that like Frozen but were too young to play Kingdom Hearts 2 when they were kids. And 2, because there's a bunch of people that want to see the end of this game and they don't want them to get stuck. So I think they purposely made it easier for those 2 groups of people.
They made it easy for the casual Disney fans.
As much as I love Kingdom Hearts,
for the casual Disney fans, but I also think they made it easy for the people that just want to see the resolution of this story and don't want them to get stuck. Too.
Yeah, as much as I love
critical mode has to be patched in, or I'm gonna
They better do that because I never died in my playthrough, and I died like 1,000,000 times in Kingdom Hearts 2 and 1.
Yeah,
as much as I loved Kingdom Hearts, I feel like it always had a problem where it was really easy on normal mode, on standard mode, and at the very end, the very end, there's this huge difficulty spike,
and you have to like. I got one-shotted by Maleficent's dragon like 50 times before I beat it.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening, man. That's like really bad level like game design where you just make easy enemies and then they're hard and then they're hard.
I'm that old school like JRPG fan that I actually like hitting the difficulty wall.
No, I get that for like
that too. I like that I had to grind to finally beat it.
I get that for critical mode and like hard mode. But not for like normal mode or easy mode.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
Well, for me, the wall in 2 was in 2 FM. The wall was Roxas. When you get to Roxas,
it was Roxas.
That's where you have to go back and grind.
The spike, the difficulty spikes in the previous games were kind of uneven, like particularly Dream Drop Distance, where you cakewalk the game, but then Tron Legacy there was a spike in the end boss.
Young Xehanort went.
That was
Young Xehanort was like 10 times stronger than any villain in the rest of Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah, so they had a weird spike, but if you could get past that hump, you'd feel more satisfied. In this game, if it wasn't for the fact that the combat looks so crazy flashy, I'd criticize it a bit more, but it was fun, man. Like, even though it was easy, I wouldn't say it was fun to do all that shit.
They need to limit
in critical mode. They need to be able to turn off attraction flow rides in the boss fights. In critical
mode. Absolutely despise the attractions. You know what's stupid?
I love the attractions. I just don't
in the Aqua fight. People doing the aqua fight in the Dark Realm and summoning in a pirate ship and killing her instantly. Like, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I think that there should be no attraction flows in boss fights, but I think that the attraction flow should be in normal fights. Because I love the
put it on easy beginner mode and then take it out of the rest.
Yeah, I mean they did really cheat. You could cheese most of those.
It was so cheap and stupid. It also changes the music, which I hated. It ruins the tone of the situation if you bring in a stupid cops or something.
I'm not gonna lie. The implementation of flow motion was so whack. They might as well not have had it. To be honest,
I actually liked it in this game because I felt like it was too OP in Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah, but in this game, it's pointless. Like, it's not worth using in this game. Like in this game, it's just redundant to even have it in. Like, why not just scrap it entirely?
I think it's good that he can climb up walls, but I almost never jumped off of a wall to attack anything.
I did that a lot, actually.
You did? Oh, well, that's good then. I mean, I do like there's a lot of options for combat in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, sorry.
No, sorry, Jay, say yeah.
Yeah, about the flow motion, I wasn't really a big fan of it because whenever I'm doing boss fights, like I'm accidentally using flow motion, I'm like, well, I'm used to, just running and attacking, but the flow motion just kind of gets in the way. I can't say I was a big fan of the flow motion in that one. I actually didn't even know it was in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like that was like probably something
it was so minor that you really wouldn't think that it was implemented in any big way. So listen, I got to start wrapping up now. But before I wrap up, I'm gonna go around each of you guys. I know Zach, you didn't rank your games at the beginning because you were deliberating on it, right? So any closing thoughts about the game? Anything you want to get out of the way? Just briefly, something like a minute and a half. Giovanni, your closing thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3 and any other extraneous thoughts you want to get out there?
Yeah. All right. So, as far as like Kingdom Hearts 3 is concerned, like I'm not in this franchise anymore for the plot. Like I keep coming back to it because of the fan service and other things. I only have one disappointment, and allow me to use a particular meme, but I will spin it around. But I just want to see some damn Final Fantasy characters. God damn it!
Yeah. I missed them. I thought I wouldn't, but I missed them. Jay, your thoughts, your closing thoughts on the game, and any other thoughts that you want to get out there before we end?
I feel like it's getting too much hate. I feel like people forgot that Kingdom Hearts 2 was pretty easy at the beginning, before Final Mix. I feel like people are not acknowledging the faults that 2 had compared to 3. Like they mentioned faults, when they try to dismiss 3, they praise 2 too much.
Yeah.
And they forget that it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And then I feel like 3 is a complete game, but it's not Final Mix level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could use a director's cut, but I don't. But if a director's cut never happens, then I'm okay with it. But it's still pretty complete.
You're happy with the vanilla game, yeah? It's not a Kingdom Hearts 2 situation.
Mm.
Okay. Simo, your closing thoughts on this game? Anything you want to get out there that you haven't managed to say?
I feel like the game was very good for me. It gave me a lot of feels. It was fun. So I'm happy the way he is, but I can't wait for the final mix to play again the game and see it in another view.
Yeah. William.
So I liked Kingdom Hearts 3, but there were a lot of missed opportunities. Missed opportunities in Twilight Town, like missed opportunities with Kairi, missed opportunities with just
Xehanort.
Like Xehanort and missed opportunities with Scala Kylum, not being able to explore that without getting attacked. Missed opportunities everywhere. But with all that being said, I still think it's an 8 out of 10 game, a great game. And I am excited for Kingdom Hearts 4 because of all the cool stuff that's hinted at from it. We didn't even talk about that. That one guy gave him a card. So Sora has a card for Kingdom Hearts 4 that he can use because he didn't use it in Kingdom Hearts 3. So there's a lot of hints for the next game coming. And in the secret reports and in the 2 stars that you talk to and other things like Ava and the epilogue and the secret ending, there's a lot of hype for Kingdom Hearts 4. And I just hope the only thing I hope is that in Kingdom Hearts 4, that Kairi gets her due.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking the card is actually what brought him to another dimension.
Maybe.
Possibly, yeah. So Zach, it's good that we're ending on you because you can give us now your final score and your ranking, your general thoughts, your closing thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. So my score is still a 9 as of now, and that might change over time. As far as the ranking, I didn't mention it before. Like I said, if we're going favorite, I'm gonna put 2 and then 3 second. But if we're going what I think is probably the best on paper, I would actually put 3 at the top. But if we're going favorite, I'm gonna put 2, then 3, Birth by Sleep 1, then Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put 358 in there because I didn't actually play it on the DS. I watched the movie on the collection.
Yeah. Same. I just watched it, and I watched Nico B's playthrough.
So yeah, I'll say 2, 3, Birth by Sleep 1, and Dream Drop Distance, and then Chain of Memories. As far as the game though, I loved it. I had a great time. It's probably the most fun I've had going through the worlds. I thought that the worlds were faithfully. They were faithfully done to the movies for the Disney stuff, and the only world that I didn't enjoy and felt that dragged was Monstropolis. I was definitely disappointed by it's presented in the trailer, and the way that it even got a title sequence, like every world gets, you think, oh, I'm in for something now, and it's like it's just this one little section in this beautiful place. You look at the end of the world, or you look at the world that never was. There are these dark, brooding places, and this one is like bright and there's blue skies, and you're like, oh wow, this is completely different. I'm excited to explore this place, and it's really just one area with some boss fights, and that was a disappointment to me. I actually like the way the story is wrapped up for everyone. You could say there were some nice pulls in there. But yeah, look at how many things Nomura's done in the other games. I'm so invested at this point that I'll accept the bullshit.
Despite the issues I have with it, the resolution on the beach is really great for me.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot, and I know I'm really excited to see where it goes. But and really quick, we talked a little bit about this, but about the combat, I still think 2's combat is unmatched. Those controls just feel so tight, and there's so much you can do with that combat that's so satisfying when you're shooting combos and you juggle people in the air. And
that frame
in this game. There's so many situations. Yeah, they're frame perfect combos in that game. The Lingering Will. You can cheese the Lingering Will with Donald's, his comet ability or whatever, and you can just infinitely juggle in the air. I actually did that. There's nothing like that in this game. I would also say that one of the downsides is there's no arena. So at least in Birth by Sleep, we had the Mirage Arena as a replacement to the Olympus Coliseum. There's nothing like that in this game. And we talked about the Kairi and Axel training. That would have actually been a perfect to have a training or to have an arena.
They tried to bring over the battle portals from the Dream Drop Distance.
I like it. It's just not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's not even a replacement for the Coliseum at all. So I'd say I actually agree with all of your points here, particularly William, where my only criticisms are maybe missed opportunities. It's not what they did. I'm happy with the way they ended it. I would have probably spread it out different, paced it differently. Overall, my score's gone up from a 7.8 to an 8. I'm sticking to that 8 right now. So yeah, William got what he wanted. So one last question, the yes or no answer to all of you guys, one by one. Do you think the next Kingdom Hearts saga is going to be as, shall we say, convoluted or as twisty turny as this saga was, Giovanni? Yes or no?
Possible. I have a feeling it's going to be that way.
Jake?
It depends if there's a bunch of side games.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they could have a complicated plot, but if it's all in Kingdom Hearts 4, then it'll be self-contained. It won't be confusing.
Because all the convoluted stuff came from Birth by Sleep and Dream of Distance, which were the side games.
Yeah.
So if we get a lot of side games, then yeah, it'll be overcomplicated. But if we get only 4, 5, and 6, then I don't think it'll be that complicated.
Yeah.
He already laid out the ground rules for timelines, so I think he just has to stick with that and then just roll with it.
You also probably won't want to spread it across different consoles and generations and handhelds again, like you did before. You kind of unify everything. What about you, Simo? You think it will be just as convoluted as this series been? Now, because we're talking about time traveling now and jumping world lines.
Honestly, I'm lost from the beginning, so just give me a fun story. Or I don't mind anymore. Okay. I don't try to understand.
Different story, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I was glad it came to an end. I was happy, but I was also glad at the same time. What about you, William? You think it's going to be as twisty turny is this saga, or maybe more streamlined?
I definitely think there's going to be multiple realities in Kingdom Hearts 4 and 5, assuming there's 5 and 6. And I definitely think that there's going to be a new kind of enemy type dealing with the YZ acronym or anagram. But I think it will be complicated within its own universe, but not complicated physically, as long as they don't do side games and handhelds and bullcrap like that, it won't be complicated. It won't be IRL complicated. It'll only be in-game complicated. And if it's in-game complicated like that, then it'll be interesting. That's where you get interest in story and stuff like that. But if it's IRL complicated because they have all these spin-offs, then it'll be too much.
Yeah. What about you, Zach? You think it'll be more streamlined or just as complicated as this one?
One of the people that all the way through Birth by Sleep, I 100% was able to follow everything. Like I there was some parts where I had to really think about it, but I was able to pretty much follow it. For me, it was Dream Drop Distance that really ruined everything.
Dream Drop Distance.
The time travel in particular, but to the question of like, do I think it will be convoluted in the future? It depends what you mean by convoluted. It's what William just said, IRL versus in-game. If you go by Nomura's logic and reasoning, and you mean like if you're talking about Nomura style writing about like these philosophical concepts about life and heart and all these things like that, that will still be there. Absolutely, there will be layers to the story. Will it be as convoluted? I don't think it will, and the reason why is because he was so eager to wrap up all the storylines. I think he wanted to cut off all the baggage and the fat of the previous game so that he could start fresh.
Yeah, I just figured it out. I think it'll be complicated but not convoluted.
Yeah, I think that would be the best thing for this show. It's not that you can't follow it. When you play these games, you can actually follow it in self-contained stories. I think in the grander scheme, you can lose the nuance and the details. Like someone who hasn't played Union Cross won't understand this or that. So I guess it comes more from that than anything. So actually, I think
it'll be complicated but not convoluted, and the convolution comes from side games.
Yeah. Okay, so I said that would be the last question. I actually want to throw one more question out to you guys. If there's one Disney property, and it doesn't just have to be the Disney stuff, it could be MCU stuff. One Disney property you want to see in future Kingdom Hearts games, what would it be? I'll go around one more time. Giovanni, you one Disney property.
Okay.
That you want to see in the future. You can say Star Wars, something MCU. You can say characters, whatever.
Okay.
Pixar.
Okay, definitely Star Wars, and if they can get Star Wars added, I would most prefer if they have the original trilogy covered. And then have a gummy ship section that what do you call it? Covers the Death Star trench.
The trench run.
Yes.
Run. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Jay, quickly from me.
I would say either Coco, Incredibles, or it has to be something with Marvel. Has to be.
Marvel. Coco would be interesting. I would love to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simo, you one Disney property.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph also. Sorry, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes.
Wreck-It Ralph also.
They will never do
there's a lot. There's
so
a
much
lot of
money they'd have to put in to make
there's a lot of potential with the video games and all that.
Yeah. That's the licensing stuff is going to be an issue there though, like because Wreck-It Ralph is all about licensing and pop culture.
There's no way Square Enix will be allowed to use all those characters, man.
Yeah, Simo,
that's why he was only a summon.
Yeah.
If they find a way to get Wreck-It Ralph in there, I actually wouldn't mind if they do another Wreck-It Ralph film and then have Sora cameo in that as a, call back to that.
Because like M. Bison and Zangief and a bunch of Street Fighter characters were in the original. So Simo, one Disney property that you want to see in the future.
I would
or if you want to see something return.
I think Treasure Planet could be very cool as a world.
Treasure Planet, yeah. That's a really underrated film from Disney.
I have a friend who really likes that one.
Yeah. William.
So I was actually gonna pick Treasure Planet, but I would also like Atlantis, Lost Empire.
Atlantis. Yes.
Because you can do a lot of stuff with both of those. They're both underrated movies. What will never happen, but would be really cool, is I want Disney to buy Studio Ghibli after Miyazaki dies, and then have Castle in the Sky World have a Castle in the Sky world in.
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. Zach, what one Disney property that you'd want to see in the future, or return of a Disney property?
Probably. I think I would say.
What?
I think that would be interesting if they own their own superheroes. But I mean, you could say MCU, but I think Incredibles would work better because of its like art style and character style. Like I think it would fit better.
What I mean with Marvel, you can Marvel, you can make your own universe basically. Like Nomura, he can make his own universe and his own art style, and it'll still work under the rules that Marvel plays with the multiverse. So like. You can just change the art style to fit Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, what wins? The Master of Masters with the ability to know everything in the future and has presumably a ton of power, or Thanos?
Thanos, probably.
we'll say that 10 years from now when Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out.
Yeah, and I'd say I would love to see Guardians of the Galaxy in a Kingdom Hearts game. I think those worlds would collide. You could incorporate into the gummy stuff. You could incorporate into the group dynamic. I think that, and considering that, I think as far as I know, Guardians of the Galaxy is the only Marvel Telltale game. Is that right? Was there another Marvel Telltale game apart from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it seems as though they're not shy about giving away that property, right? Guardians of the Galaxy. I wouldn't.
Yeah, and also Square Enix, they're making 2 Marvel games right now.
Yeah, so I mean that would give them goodwill to bring some of those guys over, especially for the future near and all the properties.
Also, as for Star Wars can't happen until after EA is done with it, and that will happen, and that will happen till 2023.
Actually, Bob Iger said that he likes the relationship with EA, so they might never stop.
Yeah, they don't care that some of these games are trash. Like they're fine with it as long as they're making money, man.
Hey, you know what though? Star Wars Battlefront 2 is almost fixed now. They almost implemented the conquest mode, so it's almost fixed.
Almost.
All right, so
it's coming next month.
Yeah, so I'll have to wrap up. It's like 5:30 a.m. here. So I'm gonna thank these guys. I'm gonna thank all of these guys for joining me, man. I think it was a really fruitful discussion. I think we kind of exhausted. I mean, we could go on forever, to be honest. We go on for 6-7 hours, but I think we covered a lot of what we wanted to discuss. So I want a big thank you to Giovanni, big thank you Jay, Simo, William, Zach. So thank you guys who are still watching right now, and hopefully when we know more about these games, we can do another podcast again about expansions.
William Moyne. We need to do one for Endgame, for Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll do that. We'll do that for sure. Yes. I've done one MCU one before, but I'll do this one again.
Yeah, and definitely like to come on for Endgame.
Sorry, go on, Jim.
And by the way, when JoJo Part 5 ends, and when I actually catch up to it, like just in time, like I'll be sure to be part of that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll keep you in mind. All right, guys. I'll link these guys' Twitters and their YouTube, whatever they want, in my description. And thank you for watching, guys. Peace out.